888-984-8723. That's 888-984-TRADE, or visit tradingacademy.com to reserve your seat. You'll discover professional grade strategies that can help you generate income, grow wealth, and ultimately achieve your why, the things you want most in life. When you register, you'll get the Wall Street Insiders Kit. Valuable investing insights, strategies, and videos absolutely free. Seats are limited, so don't delay. Call 888-984-8723. That's 888-984-TRADE to reserve your seat. That's 888-984-8723. 888-984-TRADE, or visit tradingacademy.com.
Are you prepared for 20 to 30 years without a paycheck? Listen to Grow My Retirement, Saturday afternoons at 2 with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth Management. Bill translates today's complex retirement issues into easy-to-understand steps to help you create a retirement income you can't outlive.
Whatever you have in your portfolio has to last you for the rest of your life.
Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger, Saturday afternoons at 2 here on AM 560, The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage, and I'm here with Mark Doyle, founder of Rags of Honor. Mark, what's Rags of Honor, and how is my team at Pearl Mortgage helping?
Thanks, David. Rags of Honor is a silkscreen and apparel company I founded to hire homeless veterans. Last summer, David heard that we were struggling just a bit, and as he always does, David came up with a brilliant idea to help Rags and to do something special for his borrowers. David entered one borrower per household in the Rags of Honor Shirt of the Month Club as a way to thank them for closing their loan with Pearl Mortgage. I'll tell you that David's generosity got us right back on track, helped me make payroll, and actually hired another veteran. I can't thank David enough for all he does to help us at Rags, but also to help any veteran in need. If you want to work with a lender who supports veterans, then call David at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I trust David, and you can too.
Thanks, Mark. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, and MLS 19186.
5:10, let's get an update on the roads now. Some strange things moving on the road. Jim Talamonte, they're big and orange, they have lights on them, and they have plows on them.
That's
Why
right.
are they out there this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center?
That's right. There's snow west and southwest, especially right now, is where it's affecting the commute, and it's kind of nasty on I-80. In fact, westbound, I-80 is closed from past 80th Avenue to LaGrange Road. Traffic is at a standstill from Harlem on that westbound side. Nobody's getting through at the moment due to a crash. Again, near LaGrange Road. Eastbound, there's a crash on the ramp from I-80 to inbound I-57. Bridgeport got a crash which has Polstead blocked off between 33rd and 35th. There's a crash on the outbound Stevenson at Lamont Road. Also on northbound I-57 at Sauk Trail and outbound I-57 near Holstead. There's a vehicle fire. This is jamming up the inbound Bishop Ford. It's about a 10-minute delay from Stony Island to the Ryan. Traffic at the service of Indeed.com. Are you hiring? Indeed.com delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site. You can post a job in minutes and manage your candidates with an easy-to-use dashboard. Post your next job on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A breezy day with a coating to an inch of snow, high 37. Tonight, evening snow showers followed by clearing. Later tonight, low 20. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high 36. Then a little snow tomorrow night, little or no accumulation, low 24. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
31 at O'Hare, 31 along the lakefront, 32 and snow in Aurora this morning. Next news, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Airwaves. Check out the show that's all about making money in real estate every Sunday at noon on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And look, would every Republican who has ever done so much as shake hands with Sergei Kiselak. Please come forward so we can do this at once. Mike Scott is raising his hand. He is shaking hands.
Yes.
All right, Mike
All
Scott,
right.
we're calling for a special prosecutor to look into the Mike Scott, Sergei Kiselak relationship at AM 560.
You got me. I went to prom with him. You got me.
Sergei, we'll add Amy Jacobson to the list. Can we just do this one time so we don't have to do this with every Republican member of Congress, every Trump cabinet official? Cabinet official.
There might be some there, though, Dan.
Jeff Sessions is in the crosshairs. You've had the usual suspects make their usual calls for his resignation in the wake of this Washington Post story that reports 2 interactions between Attorney General Jeff Sessions, when he was Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama, and Russian Ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kiselak. This is the same Russian ambassador that had the interplay with Mike Flynn that was the source of Mike Flynn's ultimate demise. Not that interplay, but Mike Flynn's hazy recollection at best of that interplay.
And according to CNN this morning, he's not only a Russian ambassador, he's a spy and a spy recruiter. Not kidding.
Well, he's the Russian ambassador to the United States. I mean, CNN sensationalism notwithstanding. Yes, these are all these foreign service officers are in the spy game. This just in. What a get by CNN. So there's 2 conversations in question. One was Jeff Sessions at the convention, the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, he met with him on the sidelines.
Kind of
in passing, right?
Passing, yeah. And then there was a more formal meeting, according to the Washington Post, that took place in September in Jeff Sessions' Senate office. And Sessions, the issue is not that he met with a Russian ambassador. That's not unusual for...
Well, did he meet as a Trump surrogate or as a member of as a senator?
Well, first of all, it's not unusual for a United States senator to meet with a foreign dignitary who is stationed in D.C., number one. Number two, Sessions released a statement on the topic yesterday saying he never met with any Russian officials to discuss issues of the campaign. I have no idea what this allegation is about. It is false. He went on to say, through a spokesman, that he was asked during the hearing about communications between Russia and the Trump campaign, not about meetings he took as a senator and a member of the Armed Services Committee. That's another important point to note. As someone who sits on the Armed Services Committee, the interaction with a Russian diplomat, even less surprising. But Sessions, the snippets that are being used to impugn the integrity of Sessions, to call for a special prosecutor to determine whether Sessions committed perjury during his confirmation hearings, is mainly this interchange between him and Al Franken during his confirmation hearing. Here was the Q&A.
And if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
So that's the sum total of it. What do you think? Is Jeff Sessions another Russian agent? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Well, I mean, it's a transparency issue and it's a trust issue. And why didn't he come clean and to say, yes, I did meet with him. We rubbed shoulders at the RNC convention in July, and then in September I had him in my office. I mean, what? So I feel like he's covering up something. And of course, you have your usuals, Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren, demanding that he step down. But I really liked what Elijah Cummings said, because at first he said, well, he should step down as the Attorney General. Then he said, no, he should stay as Attorney General, but just recuse himself from the Trump-Russia investigation.
This man has been the U.S. Attorney for a state. I mean, and he knows the law. He's probably prosecuted people for telling untrue statements to the FBI and others. At some point, people have to ask the question, where is the integrity? Where is the rule of law? Where is the obedience of the law? All these excuses over and over again.
I
I'm
agree
sorry,
with
did
him.
you have a point?
No,
Okay.
yeah, I do have a point, Dan. I think he shouldn't step down, but if there's an investigation, which there is, in between Trump and his ties to Russia, he would recuse himself. I mean, it's just real simple. I don't think, I mean, you've testified before a jury, right? Or have you been deposed and you've been in front of a grand jury? You can't lie to people when you're being questioned, even in Congress.
No, I haven't been before a grand jury.
I'm sorry, I've been before a grand jury. You can't lie. Excuse me, I didn't mean to. Yeah, you can't not lie. It's real simple.
Yeah, perjury, so you understand, the charge is
Okay.
willful. It
Well,
has
he just, okay, it was,
it has to be, you have to, well, if you want to prosecute somebody for perjury, you have to prove intent. You have to prove willful deceit.
I don't think he's a Russian spy, but how could he forget that?
Well, he wasn't. He was asked. You heard Al Franken ask him about the Trump campaign. So if you ask him about the campaign, he responds to what he knows about the campaign and campaign aides. It wasn't. He didn't. Wasn't directly asked about his interactions in that exchange. His interactions with Russia or Russian dignitaries as a function of his surrogacy for the Trump campaign. And you know how these confirmation hearings are. Less is more. You treat them actually like a deposition.
Yeah, you do.
Answer the four corners of the question asked and no more. This is not an essay. This is trying to keep it as succinct as possible to the question that was posed by whichever senator.
What's worse, this or what Bill Clinton did, meeting secretly with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac in Phoenix?
That's not even close. Based on what we know at this point, that's not even close. Loretta Lynch violated the canons of being an attorney by having an ex parte conversation in her role as the attorney general, having an ex parte conversation with the husband of someone that was under investigation. Jeff Sessions is not under investigation. This is a political matter at this point because it's an interpretation of that exchange we just had. We just played between Al Franken and Jeff Sessions. And there's, that's apples and oranges. Bob in Ottawa, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy. There is a good side to this, and it's aimed directly at McCain and Lindsey Graham, among others. They got to stop playing nice with these liberal Democrats because they're going to throw everything they possibly can up against the wall and hope something sticks. There's nothing here. I mean, Amy, to even throw it out there, trying to compare this with Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton, I mean, that's absolute insanity. There's nothing here.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Now, one other exchange that is relevant here is Jeff Sessions was asked during his confirmation hearing by Patrick Leahy from Vermont. Quote, this is the question, several of the president-elect's nominees or senior advisors have Russian ties. Have you been in contact with anyone connected to any part of the Russian government about the 2016 election, either before or after Election Day? No, said Jeff Sessions. So there again is, we'll say, well, but he was, because the Washington Post reports this meeting in the Senate office with Kislyak or a passing comment he and Kislyak had at the RNC. But again, the question is all posed
before.
No, it's posed about Trump and the Trump campaign. It's not posed as in your capacity as a United States Senator. It's not posed, did you ever meet, open-ended, ever meet under any circumstances with a Russian ambassador or any other senior Russian official about any topic. So I think the Democrats are way out over their skis on this one. I'm happy to go where the evidence leads. But the exchange between Leahy and Franken, Leahy and Sessions and Franken and Sessions, the idea that rises to the level of a call for resignation undermines the legitimacy of the case. It shows that Pelosi and Elijah Cummings, his change of heart notwithstanding, and Pocahontas and the rest of them, I mean, they're just immediately zero to nuclear without any assessment of the weight and quality of the evidence. There's no proportionality here because there's no interest in actually getting to whatever the truth may be in these matters. It's just the interest in trying to gin up controversy. Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
But if the average citizen knows that everything you say can and will be used against you, why would somebody who's in a position to prosecute people for the minor offenses of traffic or whatever, why would he sit there and volunteer information about him not having conversations when he noted he did? I mean, he wasn't really asked, but he volunteered that information, and now it's coming back to bite him. Another thing.
Okay, one thing at a time. I don't. What are you talking about? He was asked a question and he answered the question. How is he volunteering information? And he wasn't under arrest, so it wasn't anything you say may be used against you. It was an oath to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay.
I mean, let's try and separate out what the facts are from what we wish they were.
No, it's not what I wish it was. It's what he volunteered. He volunteered information about him being a surrogate at first, and then, I have not had communications with. And now he's talking to one of the top Russian ambassadors to the United States about. Again, we got this whole plan thing. We got a lot of lying that's going on. That's so unnecessary. That where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's what the problem is.
Okay, thanks for the call, Philip. I mean,
is he saying that he's a Russian spy now?
Well, it's just he a United States Senator on the Armed Services Committee. You were going to interact with foreign service officers from so many countries.
So do you think that
dozens of countries?
Prior to the hearings, that they knew that he had met as a member of the House Armed Services Committee with Russians, and there was an "I gotcha" question?
No, I don't think.
Because the way that they pose the question, you're right. Because in a deposition, you pretty much say yes or no answers. You don't talk too much, and they could have said, "As a senator, did you meet with any Russian officials?"
If they knew about it, or if they were so interested in the content of the meeting, if they knew about it, why didn't you just say, "Well, isn't it true, Senator Sessions, that you met with Russian Ambassador Kiselak in fall of this year during the campaign in your Senate office? And if that is true, then what was the nature of that meeting?"
Yeah.
So because what they did is they asked a general question, but the general questions were about the campaign, were about Trump and Trump aides and surrogates and his role as a surrogate. There was not any specific question that he answered regarding Jeff Sessions, United States Senator, and what he was or was not doing, who he was or was not speaking with about his work as a United States Senator, policy work. And those are important distinctions. And unless the Washington Post, New York Times, Democrats have more, this isn't going anywhere.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
His girlfriend. Oh, last night at a CNN town hall, Lindsey Graham and his girlfriend John McCain responded to this. But first, here's your forecast for today. It's going to be cold. You might need some gloves and a hat. Remember that winter gear. You're going to have to get it out today. And then we're going to have snow by this afternoon, coating to an inch, a high of 37 degrees. And then tonight, a couple of evening snow showers, a low of 20. So get the cats in. And then tomorrow, it's going to be cold with some clouds and sun, a high of 36 degrees. Let's open the doors into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy and Dan. It's brutal south and west of Chicago, I-80 eastbound. Conditions are nasty. Traffic on eastbound I-80 is at a standstill from Briggs to US 30 due to a crash. Westbound 80 is closed from past 80th Avenue to LaGrange Road. Traffic there is at a standstill from Harlem Avenue. Northbound I-55, stop and go from 30 to Renwick with a crash in the right lane. Then jammed solid Weber to 53 with a crash in the two left lanes. Outbound Stevenson, slow from past Cass to Lamont Road, crash in the right lane. Bishop Ford inbound, just a mess from 115th to the Ryan after a crash off the ramp to outbound I-57. It is 40 minutes from 8094 to the Ryan. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, get out and have some fun. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for a fun night on the town. Grab your sweet Caroline and make a date to listen to your favorite music direct from their Midwest tour. And is Denny Diamond and the Jewels, featuring the music of Neil Diamond. Normally $76 for lunch and a show for two. It's only $39 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Or head downtown for some laughs, $22. We'll get you a pair of tickets to Comedy Sports Chicago. Now, this is a unique blend of fast and funny improv comedy that's appropriate for all ages. This Laugh Out Loud show features two improv teams that play games on stage with a referee, and the audience is in on the fun. Or this is your chance to get away and escape to Wisconsin. Find certificates for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee or the Door County White Lace Inn in Sturgeon Bay. So check in every week for fun and adventure at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
Follow the world's best golfers at the 81st Masters Tournament, April 3rd through the 9th on the tournament's official website, masters.com. Log on all week long to experience a tradition unlike any other and follow the Masters on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Masters.com offers live, full-screen HD video coverage, including the Par 3 contest, plus real-time scoring, up-to-the-minute tournament news, and more. Masters.com, your official online source for the 2017 Masters.
Throwing salt over your shoulder to prevent bad luck is a common superstition. But when it comes to driving on icy roads, you don't want to leave your safety to fate. Every year, more than 116,000 Americans are injured by driving on snowy, slushy, or icy pavement. Just a sprinkling of salt on the road can reduce car crashes by 88%. Let's not rely on luck this winter. Icy roads end where salt begins. Find out how at alittlesalt.org.
The sounds of an accident. You or a loved one has been injured. Your mind is racing. What happened? Is everyone okay? What now?
I'm Dan Compton of Compton Law Group. We know that at a time like this, you want answers. More importantly, you want justice for what has taken place. If you or a loved one has been injured, please, before you sign something or talk to anyone, call Compton Law Group. This is our specialty, fighting for your rights, fighting for you, and making sure that justice is served. You can reach me at 847-742-6100. That's 847-742-6100. It's my job to make sure that you, your family, and your loved ones are protected and compensated properly. We handle nursing home accidents, car, truck, and motorcycle accidents, construction accidents, and medical malpractice.
When accidents happen, and they will happen, make sure you have Compton Law Group on your side. 847-742-6100 or online at ComptonLawGroup.net. When accidents happen, take the appropriate action with Compton Law Group, located in Elgin and serving all of Chicagoland.
AM 560, The Answer.
That is the grossest story you just told me.
We'll get to the Biden family's audition for the Jerry Springer show after a while, but coming up at 5:38, the father of a man murdered by a person in this country illegally responds to the Democrats' response to Trump on Tuesday night. We'll have it at 5:38.
And later, how a woman lost 200 pounds in one day. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
29 degrees. The Justice Department confirms that as a U.S. Senator, Attorney General William Sessions spoke with Russia's ambassador during the presidential campaign. The department says Jeff Sessions did not mislead confirmation hearing questioners by saying he had not communicated with Russian members of the Russian government. In a statement, Sessions saying he never met with officials to discuss any issues involving the campaign. Nations are pledging tens of millions of dollars at an international family planning conference. They say they're trying to make up for a gap left by President Donald Trump's ban on U.S. funding to groups linked to abortion. It's devastating. Sheriff's deputies are investigating, combing through the remains of a house in Douglas County, Oregon, that killed three siblings, 4, 10, and 13. Mother of the three siblings, another one of her children, and her husband are critically hurt. Governor Bruce Rauner promising to help residents and business owners in LaSalle County hit by Tuesday's tornado. AM 560's David Stewart has more on the governor's visit.
Governor Rauner and Emergency Management Director James Joseph toured some of the damage in LaSalle County after what's been determined to have been a Category 3 tornado with winds up to 155 miles an hour. James says the state is ready to help.
Our focus right now is the recovery of this event. We are ensuring that the county and the city have all the resources that they need. If there's any additional cleanup or debris management that needs to happen, there are state agencies that stand at the ready to assist with that.
The LaSalle County twister left a 76-year-old man dead from a fallen branch, while 300 miles away in Crossville, a 71-year-old man died when a building collapsed. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
The Illinois Commerce Commission is voting to take a closer look at the progress, cost, and impact on rates of Peoples Gas multi-billion-dollar pipeline replacement program. Peoples Gas received legislative approval in 2013 to charge customers for a 20-year program to replace 2,000 miles of aging pipe in Chicago. When launched in 2011, it had a price tag of $2.6 billion. It is seeing cost estimates now balloon to more than $8 billion. Blackhawks, thanks to a Patrick Kane hat trick, beat the Penguins 4-1. Northwestern sealing an NCAA tournament bid? Probably, with a win over Michigan, 67-65. Are the Fighting Illini in? Maybe. Malcolm Hill, 22, with a win over Michigan State, 73-70. The news, a service of Hum by Verizon. Kids borrowing the car now with Hum by Verizon. You can get notifications if they're driving too fast or going places they shouldn't. Find out how to make your car smarter, safer, and more connected with Hum by Verizon. Visit hum.com today. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks some tough news to protesters.
Okay, good. Go march around. Carry a sandwich board and yell that he's not my president. The ultimate truth is he is. You want to stand around and think you're going to make a difference? Go ahead. I believe with all of my heart, you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to move the needle 1 inch.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Save 25% on brake pads or shocks at participating Midas through April 2nd. See store for details. Not valid with other offers. Shop and disposal fee extra. Additional parts or services extra if needed.
Hi, I'm Todd Pals, owner of Homewood Bat Company, a top quality baseball bat made right here in the Chicagoland area. Homewood Bat Company is all about using the best in materials and craftsmanship to create a truly remarkable baseball bat. I've been a client of Precision Payroll for a number of years, and when I started the Homewood Bat Company, I wanted them on my team. From working with me when I had 1,200 employees at another company, and now with less than 50, their service has been exceptional and their value is unrivaled. You want more runs in the game? Give Homewood Bat Company a look. You need a home run for your business? Precision Payroll should be the next call you make.
Thank you, Todd. It is so cool to see you make Americana. Precision Payroll would like to go to bat for you. Call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
Sometimes things don't turn out the way you expect them to, like Chicagoland weather.
It's so unpredictable. Should I wear shorts or do I need a winter coat?
I think the weather people just throw darts at a board and guess. Oh, look, I got rain.
No matter what the weather throws at us, be ready. Smart businesses rely on Air Comfort to keep them and their customers warm or cool, depending on which way our weather turns. Air Comfort is one of the largest commercial and industrial service groups in the Chicago area, with dedicated factory-trained technicians that take a scientific approach to analyzing your system. They have comprehensive year-round preventative maintenance programs and emergency service, plus design, build, and install equipment for new construction and retrofits of existing mechanical systems. Now is a great time to call Air Comfort and schedule an analysis of your company's mechanical system by their certified award-winning engineering team. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
5:37, a check of the roads. In our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Conditions, Mike, are treacherous south and west of Chicago, slippery and snowy on I-55, northbound stop and go from 30 to Renwick with a crash in the right lane, and jammed solid from near 126 to 53 with a crash in the 2 left lanes. Half on Stevenson, really heavy from before Cass to Lamont Road with the crash in the right lane. Conditions are slick in Lamont on 83 near Archer. Slick conditions on the bridge. There are multiple crashes. Eastbound I-80 jammed. Briggs to 30 where there's a crash. Westbound Harlem to LaGrange Road. 2 left lanes are blocked with a collision. Bishop Ford, 35 minutes, 80-94 to the Rhine after a crash. Traffic is a service of Indeed.com. Are you hiring? Join the over 3 million businesses that use Indeed.com for hiring. You can post a job in minutes and manage your candidates from an easy-to-use dashboard. Post your next job on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cold, bit of snow at times, coating to an inch, high 37. There are flurries everywhere this morning. All of our reporting stations, 31 O'Hare, 31 along the lakefront, 31 Midway, 32 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPartsGarage.com. Discount auto parts with fast free shipping and lowest prices guaranteed.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking about the Jeff Sessions flap that is being whipped up by Washington Post, New York Times. I mean, Washington Post story is just a story. And then it's being so. I mean, I don't really have a problem with the story, but then it's being taken by the Democrats and suggested that, and the suggestion is being made. Well, not the suggestion. The call is being made for Jeff Sessions to resign. Pretty flimsy case that they've put together so far. Let's go to Randy in Sandwich. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, what you said earlier is exactly what's happening, and the caller before the break is exactly why it's working. The left is winning because they go really quick to an issue that goes from zero to nuclear, and none of the facts are straight. And then by the time it goes through the wash of the media, all people hear are Jeff Sessions, Trump campaign, Russians must be bad. And then immediately we're constantly having to play defense to clean up the story and get the facts straight. Now here's how I believe the right can start winning again. You go after Benghazi. You go after Fast and Furious. You go after the Clinton Foundation. And you especially go after my personal favorite, Pizzagate. Look that word up. Google it. Pizzagate is a major scandal that happened and was discovered by WikiLeaks. And you put them on defense and send them a hurricane of having to try to figure out how they need to get the mud off of them versus them fabricating simple stories that equate to nothing, and then us having to be on defense all the time trying to straighten out the facts.
Yeah.
Look up. I'm telling you, Pizzagate by itself is a storm of just bad news. And once they have to start playing defense on their own, then we can finally start to do business and get things going back in the right direction.
Thanks for the call, Randy. I agree with the strategic approach that Randy's taking. I don't know if I agree with the specific choices. Fast and Furious, maybe. Benghazi, perhaps in part, although there's been a lot done on that, of course. But one that has been lost in the shuffle, one investigation lost in the shuffle that I want to see move to conclusion and prosecution based on what we already know to be true is IRS. The IRS targeting of Americans for their religious and political beliefs, Lois Lerner invoking the Fifth, John Koskinen essentially impeding congressional investigations and being disingenuous, if not perjuring himself before congressional committees. I want an accounting for the IRS targeting people for their religious and political beliefs. And that's where I'd like to see Jeff Sessions. If you're going to pick up something that is substantive and legitimate and put this back on Democrats and those and what they said and did during the previous administration, IRS to me seems like the place we should start. I want to get to this other issue, though, as well. Jamil Shaw Sr. was one of the 4 parents that was invited to Trump's address to Congress the other night. Jamil Shaw Sr. Was a fixture in the campaign. He's been a fixture in public since he decided to be one of the parents who suffered a loss at the hands of a violent criminal in this country illegally. He decided to make this, a public policy cause for him. His son was murdered by a person in this country illegally, Jameel Shaw Jr., who was a standout football player, a teenager. And Shaw Sr. was on Fox and Friends yesterday, and he was asked the question about the Democrat response to Trump's announcement during his speech about that voice office in the Department of Homeland Security. This is the office for families who've been victimized by people here illegally.
Okay.
And the reaction from the Democrats. Did you see the screenshot of that, or when they panned? When he announced that, you heard murmuring from the Democrats.
I did hear that. Yes.
Republicans stood up and applauded the parents of the four victims that were representing, the four victims who were represented by their parents in the gallery. Republicans were giving them a standing ovation. As President Trump said, they were failed by their government. Democrats sat on their hands, those faux suffragettes doing their, Caesar down thumb.
The gaggle of nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's so what was?
I remember hearing them like going.
What was? Yeah, exactly.
And thinking that's disrespectful. I mean, they lost a loved one because of your failed policies, and you're murmuring.
Well, what are you murmuring for?
I don't know. What were they murmuring? Was someone handing out candy and they wanted some? Like, I'll take some.
Well, are you on the side of violent criminals in this country illegally? I'm trying to understand what the position is. So Jameel Shaw Sr. was asked about the Democrats' response, and here's his response.
Now, Jameel, at one point during that, the Democrats were booing. What was your reaction?
Oh, my God. I was like, man, it's just what do they want? I mean, it's nothing. They don't want nothing but division, bickering. They don't want to solve no problems. They don't want to help kids or husbands and family members that's been murdered by illegals. I mean, just the way they did that was just so disrespectful. But it's bigger than them, so I just, just keep on moving, just ignore them like they do me.
That's a zinger at the end. Just ignore them like they do me. And that's how families like Jameel Shaw's family feel. And you can understand why they do when you see the reaction they're treated to. Look, here's another opportunity where Republicans have to flip the script on the Democrats. A little jujitsu like Randy from Sandwich was talking about in the Jeff Sessions matter this morning. It's on immigration. I know there's the announcement that Iraq is going to be stripped out of Trump's newly revised
travel ban.
Yeah, executive order, temporary travel ban. But the issue is what I call leftist xenophobia. The irrational fear of distinguishing between the peaceful and the predator. So with Democrats, everybody is an immigrant. Everybody is. Whether you're here illegally or you're not. Whether you're a violent criminal or you're somebody who came here illegally but has otherwise been peaceful and productive. No distinction is made. Everybody's in the same group. Whether you're a DACA arrival, a child who is brought here by your parents, so you're here through no fault of your own, or you're somebody who is deported and returned, or deported and returned to commit another violent crime.
Or committed a crime, deported, come again, and commit anher crime.
There's no, or you're somebody who came here to scam the welfare system. But versus somebody who's here to work and make a better life for themselves and their family. Why aren't there distinctions made? It seems to me they're easy distinctions to make. When Trump said, I'm going to be the president of our country, when Nigel Farage is talking about this kind of new nationalism, which, sometimes trends to the jingoistic, which I'm not a fan of, but when he's talking about we're for our people, we're for our country, when Trump or Nigel Farage says we're for our people, that means the rich diversity of America or Britain, but particularly America. When Trump says my job is to be the president of America, not the president of the world. And being the president of America is in effect being a president of the world because you have American citizens from just about every country in the planet here. Mm-hmm. So when he says our people, he's not talking about Republicans. He's not talking about just white people. He's talking about our people, American citizens. and for those who want to come here. But, you know, the leftist xenophobia prevents us from being what America promises to be, prevents us from providing asylum to all those who are religiously persecuted, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, prevents us from bringing more people in who want to work and add value for their lives, add value to our country. Prevents us from doing that because they don't want to make distinctions because they think there's political currency to be had. They are the bigots. They are the xenophobes. And I think this is a real opportunity for Republicans that we're missing. Mike in Bolingbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hey, Dan and Amy. I'm a little fired up from last night listening to Joe Walsh, and I tried getting through to him, but the statement that Bill Maher made on CNN about that the Mrs. Ryan, the wife of the Chief Warrant Officer, Navy SEAL that passed,
Mrs.
using
Owens.
her as a prop.
Yeah.
That's a crock, okay? Because they used the Muslim parents of that soldier that passed, and I God rest his soul, he was an American soldier, and they used them as a political statement and as a campaign tool, and they have the audacity, these Democratic pigs have the audacity to use an American soldier that died in the defense of our country and mock his wife. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Thanks for the call.
I would listen to your response.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
I would have left that alone.
Yeah.
Bill Maher.
Do you think?
Stand down, Bill Maher. And the
Yeah.
cons, we don't know if the cons were paid to speak at the Democratic National Convention, but I don't even care if they were. I mean, they're part of that team, and they have every right to speak whenever he wants. I mean, he lost his son, too.
Trump made
Just
him.
leave people who are grieving alone, okay?
Trump-
Because they're
yeah.
defending our country, and they're willing to put their lives on the line and change your family dichotomy forever.
Trump made a mistake when he went after the Khan family.
Oh, yeah.
He corrected the mistake in how he treated Mr. Owens, who was critical of the mission in Yemen in which his son was killed. He had a transcendental moment with Owens's widow in his speech on Tuesday night. It was just an incredible moment, a transformative moment, really. And
it went on long, but that's
for
what happened.
For people who want to criticize it, or for people who want to go after Ryan Owens' widow, okay, good luck. Good luck with that. See how you're received. David in Lake Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. For the longest time, the media and the Democrats liked to use the term undocumented immigrants. And now, all of a sudden, they're not saying undocumented immigrants. Now, it's everybody is immigrants and it's immigration. There's no differentiation between legal immigrants coming here to better their lives and illegal aliens. And it's being done on purpose to try to convince, the average citizen that, the Trump administration wants zero immigration. They don't want any immigrants because they're biased and racist and misogynist and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the call, David. And look, here's the problem. This is from a story last fall. We've talked about this before, but just in addition to anecdotes, let's give you some data. In 2015, Americans' immigration court judges allowed 1 in 3 illegal immigrants charged with serious crimes like rape and drunk driving, allowed them to roam free, release them.
1 in 3?
1 in 3. So we have sanctuary courts now. The judges, immigration court judges, released 32.9% of 5,530 illegal aliens charged with crimes since October 1 of 2015. This according to a review by the Executive Office of Immigration Review obtained by FOIA by Syracuse University Transactional Records Clearinghouse on the topic. The Director of Policy Studies for CIS, Center for Immigration Studies, they're not giving them legal status, but they're letting them stay. So it's like de facto amnesty at the discretion of immigration court judges. This is what we're talking about. That's the kind of thing that prevents good people the world over from being allowed to come here, to move through the process, to get permanent status, to become a citizen, to become an American. We want more of that. The left doesn't want to make distinctions, so we get less of that. So if you're pro-immigration and on the left, you're actually not pro-immigration because the position you think you have ends with a position that you say you oppose. Work the logic.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Introducing the perfect getaway, nestled in the prairie, a place you can go to unload the stress of the day and recharge your inner peace. A place that fills your senses with fresh air and the sweet sounds of your Second Amendment rights being exercised. It's where you go to clear your head.
Set your sights for the range at 355. Shoot in a brand new state-of-the-art facility with 2 ranges, one programmable for distance and the other for turning and tactical drills featuring Mancom Touch Plus and Mancom Touch and Go systems. Trust us, it's cool. The Range at 355, situated on a private parcel of wetlands at the crossroads of I-55 and 355 right off Boughton Road. A shooting oasis with a full array of firearms, ammunition, accessories, and classes with professional guidance and courteous instruction. Take a vacation from the mundane. The Range at 355, founded by patriots like you. For range hours and info, visit range355.com.
Hey, do you find yourself saying, if only I had more leads, or if I only had more prospects to sell to? Well, if that sounds familiar, then let me tell you about the Sales Prospecting Group. The Sales Prospecting Group is ready to help you take your business to the next level. They're local, Chicagoland company that has helped hundreds of companies nationwide to secure new business by getting them in the door. The Sales Prospecting Group will get you appointments with qualified prospects to help you grow your business. Now, they don't use contract labor or offshore callers. Their in-house staff of business account executives are highly trained, professional, and effective. The Sales Prospecting Group will build a custom campaign specifically for your business. They know how to navigate complex corporate hierarchies to get you to the right people and get you connected with them. And they specialize exclusively on B2B sales. What's not to love about the Sales Prospecting Group? Call this number now to see how they can help you grow your business in 2017. The number to call is 630-701-9052. That's 630-701-9052. The Sales Prospecting Group, it's time to grow.
Hello, everyone, and here we go again with Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union demanding more money from the Chicagoland taxpayers. Well, I say enough is enough. The teachers get paid from the property taxes that homeowners pay every year. If the Teachers Union gets more money, that means your property taxes are going to go higher. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent representative for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other health insurance carriers. For months now, I have been telling you about purchasing health savings account PPO plans that will cost you approximately 40% less in monthly premiums than you're currently paying now. Well, the same thing applies to the Teachers Union. I can show the union that they can purchase a more comprehensive health insurance plan that is in full compliance with the Affordable Care Act and will cost the taxpayers up to 40% less in monthly health insurance premiums. For more information, you can call me at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
If you save $500,000 in an IRA or 401k, you know it's not really $500,000, right? Because you still have to pay taxes on that money. But here's something that will shock you. Some people will pay through the nose in taxes when they withdraw money from their retirement accounts, while a smart and savvy few will legally pay far less. Could you potentially save thousands of dollars in taxes on your IRA or 401k and keep this money for yourself? Yes, you could. Learn how in a free report called 6 Ways to Tax-Free Income in Retirement from me, Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour. The free report could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Call 630-873-6326. It's your choice. Pay the IRS or keep this money for yourself. Call 630-873-6326 or visit us on alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
5:57. Let's check our roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Like in Lamont, 83 is closed at Archer with a crash and ice on the bridge. And northbound I-55 is icy and snowy and slow. Northbound from 30 to Renwick with a crash in the right lane. Jammed from 126 to 53 where there's now a southbound crash. And the Stevenson is 43 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 58 really jammed on the outbound side from County Line to Lamothe Road, where the exit is blocked with a collision. I-80 eastbound, a solid mess. Briggs to 30 after a crash. Westbound Ridgeland to before LaGrange Road. Crash in the 2 left lanes. Traffic Service of Staples. Filing your own taxes this year? Staples helps you be accountable with everything you need for tax season for less. With storage boxes and filing supplies to software like QuickBooks and TurboTax. Right now, get up to $15 off when you buy TurboTax. In-store only. Ends 4/1/17. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after an update from Fox News, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, breezy and cold with a little snow accumulating a coating to an inch, high 37. Couple of evening snow showers, followed by clearing later tonight, low 20. Clouds and sunshine for tomorrow. Still cold, though, with a high 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently snow, 31 at O'Hare and along the lakefront, 31 at Midway. And at 5:59, here are the stories we're following. On AM 560, The Answer, the Lake County Health Department this morning confirms one case of a Barrington High School student contracting mumps. Meantime, one confirmed case not being an outbreak. The superintendent for the district says several additional cases are suspected but have not yet been confirmed. Chicago Cardinal Blaise Cupich taking controversial steps to try and protect immigrants who attend the city's Catholic churches, telling priests this week not to allow immigrations and custom enforcement agents onto church property without a warrant. Patrick Kane notching a hat trick in his second in 3 games, helping the Blackhawks beat the Penguins 4-1. Northwestern, a Big Ten basketball win. The Fighting Illini top Michigan State. Outside, 31 degrees. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Democrats didn't want Jeff Sessions to be Attorney General, and now some already want him to resign over something he didn't tell senators at his confirmation hearing. Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live in Washington.
Dave, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi among Democrats calling for Sessions to step down after the Justice Department confirmed he met with the Russian ambassador twice last year in his capacity as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Testifying under oath during confirmation hearings for Attorney General, Sessions said,
I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I not have communications with the Russians.
In a statement, the White House called the story the latest attack by partisan Democrats. Dave.
And Rachel, Democrats also want him to recuse himself from the investigation into Russian interference with the election campaign. President Trump was up early tweeting the morning after the Dow hit another all-time high that since the election, the stock market's posted $3.2 trillion in gains. Later today, the commander-in-chief will board a Navy ship in Virginia, talking to sailors and shipbuilders, pushing his proposed boost in defense spending.
President Trump will speak from the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford, which represents the next generation of naval sea power and is scheduled to be delivered to the Navy this year after numerous delays.
Fox's John Decker. Norse Salman, the widow of a terrorist, could be released from jail tomorrow after a federal judge in California ruled she's not a flight risk awaiting trial, and it's debatable whether there's enough evidence to show Salman helped her husband plot the Orlando nightclub massacre.
This is extraordinarily rare and a real statement on the weakness of the prosecution's case.
Her attorney, Linda Moreno, the government's appealing the judge's bail decision. Remember Casey Anthony, the mother infamously acquitted in her daughter's death? The judge who presided over her murder trial thinks Anthony may have killed little Kaylee by accident, trying to quiet the 2-year-old with chloroform and accidentally used too much. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Chris Wallace said on Tuesday night in the immediacy of Trump's concluding remarks in his address to Congress that tonight Donald Trump became president of the United States. And the question is, per this interesting op-ed in the Weekly Standard by Kelly Jane Torrance, was Tuesday night also the night the Tea Party was laid to rest? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Do we need to have a moment of silence?
Well, here's the argument in this piece. RIP Tea Party, 2009 to 2017. Ms. Torrance notes the response to the president's address from the Tea Party Express. And the response from the Tea Party Express to Trump's speech was this. Since 2002, Tea Party Express has hosted the official Tea Party response to the president's address. Last night was the first night that our address wasn't necessary. Not because the ideas of limited government and economic growth have fallen out of vogue, because they surely haven't, but because that speech was delivered on the floor of the United States House of Representatives by the President of the United States. President Trump delivered an eloquent address where he clearly and deliberately laid out his conservative vision for America. It should now be clear to everyone that the Tea Party movement is more than rallies and protests. We have arrived in D.C. through our elected representatives to fulfill our mission and finally reign in government. Now, that statement, I think, has some elements of truth in it. But one of the elements of truth we're going to have to confront as conservatives, Republicans, people listening to what's being said, is that, as Stephen Hayes, also from the Weekly Standard, said, one of the takeaways from Trump's speech on Tuesday night, if you get past the presentation and the tone, was an homage to big government republicanism. And we've had dalliances with that before that haven't worked out well. See the George W. Bush era most recently. But there are aspects of what Trump is proposing and what he's not proposing, like dealing with entitlements, 2/3 of the federal budget, that present a complicated picture for a free market conservative who wants to see the federal government drastically reduced in size and scope. I think that's a fair question to raise, critique to lodge. So, conservatives.
I mean, was that a conservative speech? You as a conservative, did you feel that he's part of the Tea Party? I mean, I know, rest in peace, the Tea Party, but before the Tea Party just declared itself dead, is Donald Trump a conservative?
Well, the Tea Party is not declaring itself dead.
Well, is there a need for them anymore?
Well,
I mean, really, because this is the first time the Tea Party has had to deal with a Republican president. So, of course, they didn't need a Tea Party response because they received the Republican response.
Yes, but you can, but the Tea Party is not about a candidate. It's about a policy agenda, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what the conservative movement is about, a policy agenda, not a candidate, because Donald Trump is not going to be president forever. So the policies endure. Politicians come and go. Policy choices and their implications endure. So I think you can be very complimentary from a conservative perspective of much of what Trump has laid out. Many of the personnel choices he's made so far, we have been here. I have been. I mean, you have been too, but I'm just saying as kind of more of a movement conservative. Certainly have been. Neil Gorsuch, great pick. Steve Bannon and Trump's focus on the administrative state, the executive orders on regulation, or more to the point, deregulation, very important. The discussion during his speech of structural tax reform, the clear statement about Obamacare repeal, those are all on the positive side of the balance sheet. But there are some questions, too. There are some challenges. And there's a real discussion going on within Republican ranks on a number of these areas. I mean, you have the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who has previously laid out his idea of entitlement reform. That's not something that we can kind of just push to the side. It's 2/3 of the federal budget and growing. Medicare is functionally bankrupt. Payroll taxes don't finance Medicare because it was never, of course, the government actuaries were off by a factor of 10 in terms of what they thought it would cost versus what it ends up costing.
And Social Security disability is out of control.
Well, I mean, so
many entitlement programs that need fixing.
Well, yeah, reconceiving the current reality within the current economic picture of the United States. $20 trillion in debt, $85 trillion in unfunded liabilities. Medicare recipients today receiving $2 to $2.50 in care for every dollar they put into the system. I'm not blaming them. That's the system that was set up. But that's
the opportunity in front of them.
But that's a system you can't finance. Medicaid, it's the same situation. And, there are qualms about Trump's infrastructure plan and exactly what that $1 trillion plan is going to look like. Is this going to be more shovel-ready projects that became a punchline during the Obama administration? Or is this going to be incentivizing true rebuilding of crumbling infrastructure in the nation?
Well, didn't he say yesterday he wants $1 trillion for infrastructure?
Well,
and then
right,
they've showcased this bridge in Cincinnati that's literally falling down.
Yeah, but the form and function of it is the issue.
Right.
It's not the kind of the.
It sounds good, but how are you going to pay for it?
Well, it's not the Well, not just how you're going to pay for it, but what are you going to pay for? I mean, is infrastructure block granting money to local units of government to put up swimming pools? Is that infrastructure? Or are we really focused on the connectivity of our infrastructure? Waterways, where commerce and also relieving congestion. But that's all in part a function of improving and enhancing commerce. So roadways and waterways and airports.
Yeah. They focused yesterday. I mean, not they, but NBC News focused on crumbling bridges. That trucks use that bridge to. I mean, if you want to go from Michigan to Florida, you have to go across this bridge.
Well, this is an issue. This is an issue, and listen to, for example, this is highlighted by what Chuck Krauthammer said yesterday. He lets me call him Chuck.
Oh yeah.
On special report about Obamacare repeal and Republicans not being concerned about a few pennies in the transition to something other than Obamacare.
But I do think the split among Republicans is partly a matter of ideology, partly semantics. What the Republicans have to do is to make sure that there are not a huge number of people who are hurt by the transition. That's the reason they are daunted. And the left has a genius for ratcheting up dependency and government largesse, and then daring Republicans, when they come into power, into undoing it because it's extremely unpopular. And they did gin up a system that is completely unworkable, but does have some who benefited, and some are going to lose. And I think what you have to do if you're a Republican, you have to forget about the bottom line, you have to forget about deficits for the short run. You must cover these people one way or the other, or you will have a PR and political catastrophe. Yes, you don't want to bust the budget, and it'll be a transition period, but you can't be counting your pennies now when there are going to be so many stories out there of people who are hurt and really hurting as a result of the reform.
Take what Krauthammer said and make it bigger than Obamacare, about counting your pennies, not worrying about deficits in the short run. Point of order, as Keynes said, in the long run, we're all dead, so the short run matters. And it's the argument that's always made to expand government or to maintain the expansion of government. We'll get around to rethinking it. We know it's not sustainable right now, but we don't want to take political heat. We don't want to be called unfeeling or callous. So, we'll transition smoothly. Then ultimately, some distant day, we'll get to the whole kind of belt tightening and living within our means and balancing budgets and aligning incentives. Someday we'll get to it. But we can't do it right now because it's too difficult. And he's right about the left and many on the right who extend these government programs. You create a constituency around them, and then you're unwilling to take the heat when they prove unworkable, unfinanceable, to rethink them, much less remove them. So, are we still traveling down that same path to a government-centric society we're just moving at a slower pace than we were moving the past 8 years under Obama? I think that's a legitimate question. Robert in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I think the Tea Party will be back once Trump starts spending all kinds of money to please everybody. You know, he's already spending $65 billion on a war machine that's bigger than the next 15 countries put together. He's not going to cut back on Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. That he has to get reelected in 4 years. So once the huge deficits start coming back, the Tea Party will be back screaming their heads off because this guy's liberal.
Maybe. Thanks for the call, Robert. Maybe
Do you think
they
he's
will.
really concerned about being reelected right now? Because I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean,
I think his number one priority is living up to his campaign promises.
Well, right, but they're inextricably linked, aren't they? You know, he has to be successful to be reelected, so he's thinking about being successful. So he, because he's thinking about his standing and his place in history and all of those things. Here's kind of the basis I start from. I assume every politician is immediately concerned with being reelected about 5 minutes after they're elected.
I mean, Congressman, you're constantly running for office because your re-election's every 2 years.
Every politician is concerned with reelection. That's just built into
every choice that they make during their term, whether it be 2 years or 6 years, they're concerned about reelection.
It factors in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's always the driver on every issue. Certainly, people sometimes vote to take unpopular stands, with respect to their constituencies, because they believe it's the right thing to do. So of course, that happens. But I'm just saying that the reelection, political survival, always factors in. It's human nature.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mike on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Krauthammer's an idiot. You know how you win the battle with the PR battle with these people? You call them parasites. All these people.
Yes, name calling is always the way to win the PR battle.
That's how we win. All these people that all of a sudden have health insurance and we pay for it and we're losing it. Look at the Sun-Times. Every time I bring up the Sun-Times. 5 years ago, they came out with the store allocated $3,000 a month for these Section 8 vouchers to the downtown in the Arrow Building. And 2 days ago, Jesse Jackson Jr. is getting after he comes out of prison, $138,000 a year.
Yeah, Social Security disability.
Payments, and his kids are getting disability payments. He says since his kids are getting government money, he should cut back his child support. I pay more for one kid than he pays for two. He's a parasite. Throw him back in jail.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
And Mike, you need a new phone, Mike.
Yeah,
I'll pay for Mike's new
I
phone.
think his Obama phone is running out of minutes.
Yes.
But here's the. I mean, I'm not. Well, Jesse Jackson Jr. Yeah, okay, I can see the point, but I don't know I don't know what that has to do with where the Republican Party is and what they should do with respect to those who are benefiting from Obamacare and what they should do with respect to the balancing the conservative philosophy with political reality in terms of messaging, which is the point that Krauthammer's making. I don't think Krauthammer's an idiot. I think it's an issue to raise, but you have to be. I mean, I go back to say this simple thing. I want Trump to be successful. I want Trump to do all the things that I've said he said he wants to do. I mean, there are disagreements, but we've discussed at length many of the proposals and the personal choices he made, and how much I personally like them, and I want to see them go from rhetoric to reality. But I don't want to play cult of personality politics. I mean, if Donald Trump, offered up a new entitlement program, like George W. offered up Medicare Part D, I would oppose it. I wouldn't like it. Trump is not infallible. He's complicated, and one of the reasons I think he's successful is because I think people are complicated too. I don't think most people come from a philosophical posture when it comes to thinking about public policy. I think they like Medicare, when they benefit from it, and so they don't want that to be bothered with. Leave it alone.
It's not broken, don't fix it.
But they don't. But it is actually
but not for them.
But they don't like big government at the same time. There's a lot of, contradictions bound up in people's political views and a lot of contradictions bound up in Trump's political views. And maybe that's why there's such a connection. but it doesn't necessarily always make for the right public policy. And the Tea Party's utility, why I don't think the Tea Party's dead, I certainly hope it isn't, is because you always have to be a check on politicians. You always have to be putting pressure on politicians at every level. You think you elected, if you elected me, as silly a proposition as that is, but as confident as I am in my political philosophy and the policies that flow from it, you think I'm, as much as I would like to believe, I'm completely insulated from the ability to be pressured in a direction I don't otherwise want to go. I don't think that's true. And this is sometimes what conservatives and free market types forget. The other side, the big government side, is always trying to squeeze politicians, always putting pressure on them to move ever so slightly to their side. And then ever so slightly, a little bit at a time, over time, turns out to be a lot of bit. And you advance Leviathan rather than advancing the individual at Leviathan's expense. And so I would say the same thing with respect to the President of the United States that I'd say to members of Congress, that I'd say to members of the General Assembly, that I'd say to your locally elected officials. You have always got to be putting pressure on them. You have always got to be weighing in. They have to hear from you. And you have to decide what a standard is and should be, and then hold everybody to that same standard as best you can. The left plays cult of personality politics. When we play cult of personality politics, we may win in the short run, to borrow short run thinking from Krauthammer, but we lose in the medium and long run as the state grows at our expense. Steve and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you this morning?
Good.
You know, Dan, I got to compliment you. You and the vocabulary. I mean, I mean this sincerely. I had a professor in school, and I was just so in awe. I never learned anything, but I listened to his so eloquent speaking and everything. I mean, I'm in awe. I mean, really, I got to give it to you. But really, the left being the left, we all got to basically stick together. I mean, Republican, Independent. A lot of people voted for Trump. They got to, call him out when he doesn't do what he does, praise him when he does, and I understand Krauthammer, but I mean, hey, he was on the Democratic side. Look what he did for Mondale, and I'm sure Reagan.
Well, no. Look, yeah, and Krauthammer's not always right. Krauthammer and George Will both got snookered by President Obama. They thought after they broke bread with President Obama, he was going to be a different kind of Democrat. So they completely misread Obama, and they didn't understand the history that we knew of Obama from our experience in Illinois. So, no, I mean, I appreciate that. Thanks for the call, Steve. I'm not looking at Krauthammer as some kind of oracle of Delphi. I'm just suggesting that it's a question that he raises that we need to compliment. And don't fall into the trap, Joe, just because people I dislike or whose views I dislike even more than something Trump is doing are opposed to Trump. I have to stand with Trump with everything he does, some of which I may dislike. You're allowed to dislike the big government, bedwetting, socialist left, and also highlight points of distinction, points of disagreement on our side. You can do both.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, a story you might only hear here. White House lied to journalists about the Trump speech and a misdirection plan. They're not denying it. But first, here's your forecast. Today, it's going to be sun this morning, late this morning, but snow returns by this afternoon, a coating to an inch, a high of 37 degrees. Then tonight, a couple of evening snow showers. It'll be cold, a low of just 20 degrees. And tomorrow, Friday, cold with some clouds and sun, a high of 36 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Looking up here at the monitor, a nasty crash at Halsted and 33rd Street. Here's Jim Telemonte with the latest.
That's right, Amy. In Bridgeport, Halsted is closed between 33rd and 35th after that crash, which happened a couple of hours ago. The worst of the traffic and the crashes right now that would be south and west of Chicago and Lamont. 83 is closed between Archer and 107th. There are crashes on the bridge over the Des Plaines River involving up to 15 vehicles, according to Cook County Sheriffs. And we have big delays on northbound I-57 now, from before Sauk Trail to before 30. That's due to a crash. Northbound and southbound I-55 really heavy and snowy and slick. Delays northbound from past 126 to Lamont Road, where there's an outbound crash. Then the Stevenson is 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 55 to a crash at Lamont Road, a jammed county line to Lamont, and then jammed 53 to Weber with a crash. Eastbound I-80. Traffic is slow from Chicago Street to 30, westbound 183rd to Maple after a crash. The Chicago expressways to the north and west are fairly routine right now with the usual delays. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, time is running out. That's right. If you want to join me and Dan Proft and Joe Wolf in Punta Cana this year, you have just a few short days left to book that trip. So go do it right now. You'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa in Punta Cana. Now, this resort just opened in November, so it's brand spanking new. It has 5 gourmet restaurants, 7 bars, 24-hour-a-day room service. If you want to golf, you're just a short drive away from 2 championship golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus. And there's literally something for everyone, but you can't wait any longer. There's really just a few days left before this trip will be closed. So get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport. Time is running out to secure this exclusive price from our good friends at Apple Vacations.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Spring is in the air. The days are getting longer and the sun is shining brighter. Wouldn't it be nice to have new, customized window treatments to give your home a fresh look? The Blind Buddy can help you accomplish that without breaking the bank. Forget overpriced big box stores or pushy fly-by-night franchises. The Blind Buddy is an independently owned business serving Chicagoland for over 20 years by one of Chicago's first responders. They offer quality window treatments at affordable prices. Shutters, wood blinds, solar shades. Choose from a wide variety to fit your home or business, plus your style and budget. John, the Blind Buddy, will come to you and personally handle measurement to installation. The whole process can usually be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Read the Blind Buddy reviews on Yelp. Then give John a call to set up a free in-home consultation. The Blind Buddy's got Chicago covered. Visit theblindbuddy.com or call 773-893-0-BUD. That's 773-893-0-BUD.
If you're fortunate enough to have an IRA, 401k, or other qualified plan, you also have a tax problem. For example, a $1 million IRA is really worth as little as $600,000 after taxes. Do you really want to give $400,000 or more of your hard-earned retirement savings to the IRS? Most investors and even financial advisors have no idea that a tax-free, market risk-free solution approved by the federal government has been available for more than 15 years. Known as an IRA reboot, it provides tax-free lifetime income and a death benefit for beneficiaries. It can even be used to cover college costs or provide long-term care, all without risk from market losses. And unlike an IRA or 401k, there are no limitations on the amount you can contribute. For your free illustration and financial analysis, a $399 value, call Kelly Financial Services at 708-576-8999. That's 708-576-8999 today.
If you save $500,000 in an IRA or 401k, you know it's not really $500,000, right? Because you still have to pay taxes on that money. But here's something that will shock you. Some people will pay through the nose in taxes when they withdraw money from their retirement accounts, while a smart and savvy few will legally pay far less. Could you potentially save thousands of dollars in taxes on your IRA or 401k and keep this money for yourself? Yes, you could. Learn how in a free report called 6 Ways to Tax-Free Income in Retirement from me, Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour. The free report could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Call 630-873-6326. It's your choice. Pay the IRS or keep this money for yourself. Call 630-873-6326 or visit us on alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Are you stuck in a bad home mortgage? Well, join the club that has about 10 million other American families. But I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest legal analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, I guarantee you'll never be alone in this country.
The website, upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do on this show daily. Upstream-ideas.com. Sign up today for long-form interviews like this week with Jim Urio, CNBC, to talk about economic policy, both at the federal and state of Illinois level. Commentaries, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program that focuses on Illinois politics and policies, follow the logic segments, and much, much more at upstream-ideas.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll talk to our friend Dr. Zuhdi Jasser from the Islamic Forum for Democracy about Trump's address to Congress at 6:36.
And Beau Biden's widow has found a new love. She's keeping it in the family. And later, one woman who owns property all around the world is setting her sights on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
26 degrees, a suspected U.S. drone strike in Pakistan's northwest tribal region killed 2 militants, according to intelligence officials speaking on the record. The officials say the latest strike took place in the Karam tribal region bordering with Afghanistan. Democrats are calling for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to step down after it's come out he met twice as a sitting senator with the Russian ambassador last year and while President Trump was campaigning. Speaking under oath in confirmation hearings for that Attorney General post, Sessions previously told senators he had no contact with Russian officials.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
Attorney General Sessions answering questions during that confirmation hearing in the Senate. Spokeswoman says Sessions only talked with the ambassador as part of his job as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. President Trump takes his call for a hike in military spending to the Navy's newest aircraft carrier, set to speak on board the USS Gerald R. Ford in Newport News, Virginia, today. The widow of the Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen may soon be out of jail. A federal judge in California has granted bail of $500,000, saying she finds no evidence nor Salman holds any extremist views. 2 Chicago police officers recovering following a crash in the Loop. It happened near State and Congress Parkway. 2 officers are hospitalized. Lake County Health Department recently confirmed that there's 1 case of a Barrington High School student contracting mumps. That contagious virus disease causes fever and swelling. However, the school district does say several additional cases are suspected but have not yet been confirmed. And this morning, Sweden's left-leaning defense minister is turning heads, saying that country now wants to reintroduce military conscription for both men and women, 7 years after that policy was scrapped. Peter Hultqvist telling Swedish Broadcasting he wants to have conscripts, volunteers, and professionals in the Swedish Army. Patrick Kane, a hat trick. Blackhawks over the Penguins 4-1. Big Ten basketball, a buzzer-beating win for Northwestern over Michigan, while the Fighting Illini foil Michigan State 73-70. The news service of Accountabs, even when payroll is due, unexplained absences can hit your company and cause problems. Your team is short-staffed? Well, then you need to call Accountabs. They provide accounting and finance professionals on a temporary or project basis, and fast. Visit Accountabs.com to learn more. Accountabs, a Robert Half company. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager can't trust science anymore.
New York Times, May 9th, 2016. California braces for unending drought. The climate change world hysteria belongs in the secondhand smoke world of hysteria. There is a poison in the scientific community on anything that has to do with public policy.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
6:35. Check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. And Lamont 83 is closed between Archer and 107th with quite a few crashes on the bridges over the Des Plaines River and Calsac Channel. Northbound I-57 is jammed. Steger Road to be 430 with a crash. Farther north, 57 is pretty light. Eden's 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 20. Kennedy, 27 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 22. Eisenhower's 44 minutes. Thorndale to downtown outbound 31. Northbound I-55 delays start past 126. Stevenson is 52 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 48. The Ryan, 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 22 minutes. 8094 to the Ryan. Eastbound I-80 has delays. The Des Plaines River Bridge to 30 after a crash. And 80th Avenue to I-57. Traffic service of Verizon. It's your check engine light on. Hum by Verizon can tell you why. You can fix small problems before they become big ones. Find out how to make your car smarter, safer, and more connected with Hum by Verizon. Visit hum.com today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cold today. Times of clouds and sun with snow showers accumulating a coating to an inch. We'll hit a high near 37. Currently, 28 degrees. Your next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, a lot of controversy remains about immigration policy, even President Trump's discussion of a merit-based immigration system rather than what was previewed in his speech by the New York Times, was going to be some pathway to citizenship, some de facto amnesty for persons here illegally who are otherwise nonviolent.
Yeah, and it was a misdirection play because Trump and his administration took top anchors, including Brett Baer, who's going to be on our show tomorrow, and I can't wait to ask him about this question, and told them that he's going to embrace a more moderate tone on immigration and that he's willing to negotiate granting millions of illegal immigrants legal status. So everyone kind of celebrated, before his address before Congress, thinking...
Who's everyone?
Well, people who are here illegally, Dad. And
okay.
People that we know who are here illegally thought, oh my gosh, Trump is changing his tone. But it turned out that was just a misdirection play. And Sarah Murray from CNN was at the luncheon, and she confronted them saying, hey, what is this? Why did you mislead us? And they didn't deny that it was a misdirection play.
He talked about a path to legal status. Basically, they fed up things that they thought these anchors would like, that they thought would give them positive press coverage for the next few hours. A senior administration official admitted that it was a misdirection play. And you will note that when the president was actually out there speaking to the American public, he didn't talk about a path to legal status. He talked about reforming the legal immigration system so it's merit-based. That means fewer low-skilled workers, fewer people coming on family ties, more people coming on high-skilled visas. That is still closer to a Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon framework of the world than Gang of Eight, who pushed comprehensive immigration reform.
Actually, it's not that much. That's not true, that last part, which is unsurprising, because you had during the primary, you'll recall, both Jeb Bush and one of the members of the Gang of Eight, Marco Rubio, who was the presidential candidate, say exactly that about moving away from solely family-based to more merit-based with respect to immigration policy. They both took that posture. So Sarah Murray, whoever she is, has not done her homework, has short-term memory problem.
But that's not the
you haven't
issue.
Seen it.
The issue
it was
is that
the primary campaign.
Okay, but the issue is that they openly lied to journalists to try and get positive press coverage for Trump's address to Congress.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, the horror.
Well, no, Dan, that's not normal behavior.
Oh, it's not normal behavior.
Did President Obama ever do it? But you're talking
Did
about
President
people's
Obama
lives.
ever,
You're talking about millions of people who thought, no,
did
you're
President Obama
not
lie
to the
to the
media.
press?
Did he lie to the media and just to snucker them into positive press coverage? He didn't need to do that because
he didn't need
they
to
were
do it.
in
They're
bed
in
with
the
him anyway.
tank.
But still, the fact that
Except
Trump
the ones
did this,
kicked off his campaign plane.
No, I have a serious problem with this. I
Yeah.
mean, how could the journalists ever trust Trump and his administration?
Right, yes. That trust relationship he has with the D.C. press corps has been jeopardized.
Well, we'll ask Brett Baer how he feels tomorrow because he was at that luncheon.
For more on these and other topics, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, author of the book A Battle for the Soul of Islam. Dr. Jasser, good to have you again. Thank you.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me back.
And so Trump's tone on immigration policy, the news out yesterday that he is going to remove Iraq from a forthcoming revised executive order that will still include apparently a temporary travel ban with respect to certain countries. Where are you in terms of what you're hearing from the president on this topic in the context of national security?
Well, I think, we're going to see a not too changed executive order, but one that's clear, one that engages Congress, and one that, it's sort of a bizarre time in which the rule of law, in which vetting refugees for those who really want to come here because they share our ideas is somehow extreme. It should be normal. I mean, my family escaped the dictatorship and tyranny of Syrians in the 60s because they wanted to come here to be free. They believed in the American laboratory of freedom, and that's what they wanted to come here for, and they waited and did it legally and got political asylum. So, I think it makes sense to take Iraq off. We may be deploying more troops. The president talked about defeating and decimating ISIS. I don't think you're going to be able to do that without putting in some more troops, especially into Iraq. I hope we won't put more troops in Syria. There was some hint that General Mattis was floating that idea. There's a number of reasons why we should not be fighting side by side with the Hezbollah jihadists, the Iranian jihadists, and Assadists. But, having said that, at least these 7 countries, they're governments that we can't trust. Vetting just because they don't belong to terror groups does not mean they deserve to come here, because they could be Islamist, jihadists, And we need to start having a merit-based process so that people that are religiously persecuted, politically persecuted, feel that they're welcome to come here and have a prioritization.
Well, should any countries be added to the travel ban, which actually isn't a travel ban, it's called extreme vetting? Are there any countries that were not on the list of 7 that should be added?
I don't think at the first step they shouldn't, but I will tell you absolutely in the next 6 to 12 months, some countries that we consider our allies, which I've always said are sort of like the firefighters, but also the arsonists in this war, like Saudi Arabia, like Pakistan, and other countries that are cauldrons of radical Islam, some of the Gulf states. While they might be with us day to day in the short term, we could get rid of ISIS in 6 to 12 months, but in 3-4 years, you're going to get another radical Islamic group, be it Jabhat al-Nusra or one of these militant groups. And the source of those ideologies are Saudi Arabia's Wahhabism, Qatar's Islamism, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and sort of global Islamic movements that are political Islamists, and countries that have those ideologies fomenting deeply within millions of their countries. Those are folks, look at, why should we accept, for example, Chinese communists or Russian Putinists who are dictatorial in their mindset? Those folks also, I hope, extreme vetting would not allow them in. So I think we need to get back to what, in every war we fought, we welcomed those who shared our values, that wanted to be free, but we said, hold on, it's not a right to come here, especially if you don't believe in our type of system.
When you saw President's speech on Tuesday night, and he addressed the widow of Navy SEAL Ryan Owens in the gallery, and Republicans stood and applauded, and there was this extended applause and this kind of this very poignant moment that the nation participated in. But not everybody in the nation, because Muslim congressman from Minnesota, Keith Ellison, recently off his defeat for DNC chairman, but I guess he's been deputized by Tom Perez. He didn't want to stand, didn't want to acknowledge. How did you take that moment where the nation saw Keith Ellison sitting with his resting angry face in the context of a president of the United States honoring the widow of a fallen soldier, as a veteran yourself?
Well, Dan, I'm glad you asked me that. I want people to know, not only as an American, as a naval officer who took care, as a physician, I took care of SEALs and so many other of our heroes, and as a Muslim, I'm beyond offended. Our antagonists on the left, as on the right, we need to find those issues, especially our son and daughters fighting for our freedom and our liberty. Find those issues that rise above partisanship. And the day that every issue, even as deep as the wife of a hero who gave his life just a few months ago to protect us, should be something we all stand and applaud, we all cheer, and realize that this is why we're free. This is why our Constitution means something. That, yes, we might have our differences with who's in the White House and its agenda. Listen, I'm a conservative. I didn't agree with everything President Trump said. But we are rational, patriotic enough to know that we won't let the identity politic be used. And Ellison is all about identity politics. He's racialized being Muslim. And by the way, the left did that. They're making the horrendous claim that this was a political prop, when in fact they're the ones who paraded Muslims various Muslims into that chamber during the speech to say that they were, the party of Muslims, when in fact we are not a race. We're a diverse idea that shouldn't be used. They used it as a prop, when in fact this was something that should rally Americans. And most did. Even Van Jones was critical of what the left did in response to the acknowledgement of this hero.
Well, how many Muslim American Republicans are there out there?
I think there's more than people would believe. It's not as many as I'd like to say. I think that the numbers show that we're probably about 10 to 20% of American Muslims. But I'll remind you, Bush in 2000 received 60% of the Muslim votes. So it shifts quite a bit, because currently our Muslim community politically is dominated by identity groups like the Council on American Islamic Relations and the Muslim Public Affairs Council that are Islamist. The New York Times in the past 2 weeks has run 3 op-eds about how horrible it would be to declare the Muslim Brotherhood a terror group, and how they just ran an op-ed 3 days ago from a guy in prison who's the spokesperson for the Brotherhood. So the Brotherhood ideology has dominated our community from the Islamic groups. So it has shifted Muslims into feeling the sense of siege. So therefore, they're not voting based on conservative values of family values, democracy, freedom, etc. They're voting based on sort of the fear that the Islamic groups are putting into our community. And I think you could see a shift back towards conservatism with better leadership in our Muslim community.
And that better leadership comes in part in the form of Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, veteran, and the author of the new book, A Battle for the Soul of Islam. Dr. Jasser, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today it's going to be a little dicey. A return to winter, that's for sure. Cold, little snow at times, accumulating a coating to an inch by this afternoon, a high of 37 degrees. Then the snow continues this evening, on and off snow showers. It will be cold, a low of 20. And then tomorrow, cold with intervals of some clouds and sun, a high of 36 degrees. But it will warm up for your weekend. Now let's go into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy in Romeoville, 135th is closed, 53 to New Avenue. That's due to ice on the bridge. We've got a crash in Bridgeport, which has Halstead blocked off still between 33rd and 35th. Northbound I-57 jammed from before Steger to past Sauk Trail. Crash in the right lane. There are cars in the ditch, very icy there. And southbound delays are from 30 to before Sauk Trail, where the left lane's blocked. Edens is 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Kennedy, 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. The Ike, 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 36. Stevenson, 57 minutes, 355 to the drive, 40 from the Tri-State. Outbound 42 minutes to 355. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. On Tri-States, though, 111th to the Mile Long Bridge. Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Toy to North Avenue. It's slow and snowy on I-80 eastbound, especially the Des Plaines River Bridge to 30. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Fed officials talking today and tomorrow. McDonald's offering mobile order and pay and curbside pickup. Wells Fargo executive pay cuts. Those stories next.
2017 is the year of Trump, and markets are rising to all-time highs. But economic uncertainty may be greater than after any election in our lifetime. And as retirement approaches, there's little time to recover losses. You need to hedge against uncertainty. That means transferring part of your retirement to physical gold and silver, stored where you can actually hold it in your hands and get it fast in any disaster. It's the perfect time to buy. Prices are low and expected to climb. Make Augusta Precious Metals your personal gold and silver provider. Augusta cares for your financial position and helps you make good decisions. And they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Get Augusta's free gold and silver IRA guide. What you learn could help you weather any economic storm. No obligation. Just call 855-222-6993. That's 855-222-6993. 855-222-6993. Trust Augusta. Protect your retirement today.
A number of Fed officials speaking over the next couple of days. Fed Chair Janet Yellen speaks Friday at the Executives Club of Chicago. Investors will be listening for clues on interest rates. McDonald's expanding into mobile order and pay and curbside pickup toward the end of the year. CEO Steve Easterbrook says McDonald's will move more quickly to adapt to changing customer habits and tastes. McDonald's trying to improve the image of its food and boost sales of its coffee and pastries. Wells Fargo slashing bonuses and other pay of its CEO and 7 other top executives by about $32 million. This comes a little more than a week after 4 senior managers were fired, that after an investigation into the bank's sales practices. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, ChicagoRadioDeals.com can help you spiff up your home and auto. Wash away the road grime and dirt and salt with a great deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash includes vacuum, window wash, dash, wipe down, an $18 deal for only $10. Give your home the clean it needs with an excellent deal from the Grout Medic of LaGrange. The Grout Medic offers a shower touch-up that includes a steam clean of your shower tiles, and grout, or choose a clean and color seal floor package for your kitchen or bathroom. Each deal is $110 and have a $250 value. And shop at a great local hardware store with personal customer service. Purchase the Addison Building Materials $100 gift certificate for only $50. Addison Building Materials is a true value retailer. So tackle your home improvement projects with help from your friends only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How close Jose Abreu was to never signing his $68 million deal with the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox slugger testifying before a Miami federal jury on Wednesday that he ate a chunk of the fake passport he had while flying to the U.S. to cover up his illegal travel as part of a Cuban ballplayer smuggling operation.
That's awesome.
You know, they're
Well,
trying
at least he didn't lie about it, Jeff Sessions.
What are you talking? Jeff Sessions. What did Jeff Sessions lie about?
Oh, I don't think he full transparency.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
So he, trying to escape that communist paradise, Cuba.
Yeah.
He ordered a beer on an Air France flight from Haiti to Miami, slowly consumed the page containing his false name and photo.
So do you think he dipped the paper in the beer and let it, moisten up a little bit and then ate it?
I don't know.
Just did a shot?
I don't know the best way to eat illegal documentation, but Abreu had to be in Chicago by a certain date in October of 2013, or else to execute the $68 million contract he signed. Otherwise, it would have been null and void.
You don't want to mess that up. $68 million.
I'd risk the immigration and the vetting and all that too if I had a $70 million contract with the White Sox pending. He said, Abreu, he made it to Miami,
right.
And under the immigration policy in this country at the time with respect to Cuban asylum seekers, the wet foot, dry foot policy, then he was allowed to stay and then go on to hit 300 for the White Sox. That was, by the way, that policy rescinded by President Obama, who's so pro-immigrant and pro-asylum seekers.
Exactly. People need to remember that.
Yeah, keep remembering that. And also, allegedly, Obama, a White Sox fan. More evidence that that's a lie, too.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
Hey, time is just about up. That's right. If you want to join me, Dan Proft, Joe Walsh, in Punta Cana this year, you have just a few short days left to book that trip, so go do it right now. We'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It's a brand new resort, all the bells and whistles. Just go online yourself and check it out. There's nothing you can't do. Golf, Just a short drive away, there's 2 championship golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus, and there's literally something for everyone. But you can't wait any longer. Just a few days remaining before this trip will be closed. So get more information and book your trip now by visiting 560theanswer.com/passport.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio. I believe not only in protecting your retirement and making the growth going forward, but also having a tax-efficient retirement as well, because you want your retirement portfolios to generate an income stream that will last for your life, for your spouse's life, and if you have kids, that will pass on to the next generation as well.
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business. Dennis Prager can't trust science anymore.
New York Times, May 9th, 2016. California braces for unending drought. The climate change world hysteria belongs in the secondhand smoke world of hysteria. There is a poison in the scientific community on anything that has to do with public policy.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll discuss Jeff Sessions. You see what I did there? With Russian diplomats, with Indiana Senator Todd Young at 7:07.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here once again is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the death toll rises in the Ottawa tornado. A grand bargain, a fine mess at the State House in Springfield. 2 CPD officers hurt in a loop crash. Kim Fox unveils bond reform, and Northwestern beats Michigan at the buzzer in a Big Ten basketball clash. Cold today, bit of snow in your forecast. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. There's a new wrinkle in the Democrats' push for an independent probe into Russian interference into the election campaign, and it has Attorney General Jeff Sessions under scrutiny. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, top Sessions perjured himself when he did not disclose contacts with the Russian ambassador during his confirmation hearing for Attorney General. The Justice Department says Sessions did meet twice with the ambassador last year, but in his capacity as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham told CNN,
Maybe an innocent contact. I don't know if he has to disclose everybody he's ever talked to.
Responding to the controversy, Sessions said, quote, I never met with any Russian official to discuss issues of the campaign. I have no idea what this allegation is about. It is false. Dave.
Rachel, President Trump will board an aircraft carrier in Virginia today, talking to Navy sailors and shipbuilders, promoting his plan for a big boost in defense spending. Vice President Pence will go to Ohio to talk to business leaders about repealing Obamacare, joined by Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price.
I think we're getting very, very close. We've got good input from all individuals across the Hill.
The Senate's Republican leader hopes to get something done in 4 to 6 weeks. Democrats claim repeal will make health care worse and Americans would lose insurance coverage. North Korea is not buying the story that leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother was assassinated.
According to the information we have,
a North Korean official saying deceased Kim Jong-nam had a history of heart trouble, and that is likely how he died.
This is a strong indication that the cause of the death is the heart attack.
North Korean envoy to Malaysia, Ri Tong-il, added, it is strange that 2 women charged with murder suffered no apparent ill health. VX nerve agent reportedly found on the victim's face is deadly in even tiny doses. In the Asia Bureau, Alistair Wanklin, Fox News.
The 2 accountants blamed for the Best Picture snafu will never work at the Oscars again. That's what the Academy president says. The wrong envelope led to La La Land mistakenly announced as the winner instead of Moonlight. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
26 degrees this morning. We have cloudy skies at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Number of plow trucks are on the roadways. Snow showers draping the Chicago area and the suburbs. And the National Weather Service says snow will likely fall throughout the morning. 2 Chicago police officers are recovering following a crash in the loop. Authorities say an SUV was traveling early this morning near State and Congress when it collided with a police squad car. The driver of that SUV cited for not having a driver's license and not having insurance. Lake County Health Department recently confirmed one case of a Barrington High School student contracting mumps. Meantime, the superintendent of that district, in an email, says several additional cases are suspected but have not yet been confirmed. Communities across the state cleaning up after deadly storms produced tornadoes that moved through much of the Midwest. 3 died over a several state area, 2 of them in the state of Illinois, where tornado survivor Debbie Lowridge says she and her son huddled in the bathroom until the storm passed.
Fighters finally came and got us out of here. They had to take us out through the front window there. And they said they couldn't get the dogs because they wanted to rescue people first and then they'd worry about the animals later.
Southwest Illinois residents in Randolph County still without power. Golf ball size hail in several spots, including Edwardsville. And the governor says residents and businesses hit by the tornado Tuesday will get help.
Fortunately, there was a good warning system. People knew that the storms were developing, that they were coming. And they were warning each other on the phones and checking on the elderly residents here. And they got everybody in the basement just before the storm hit.
Rauner and Emergency Management Director James Joseph toured the damage in LaSalle County yesterday. Chicago Cardinal Blaise Cupich taking controversial steps to try and protect immigrants who attend the city's Catholic churches. Cupich telling priests this week not to allow immigration and customs enforcement agents onto church property without a warrant. Number of Cook County jail inmates could be released soon under a new program unveiled yesterday by State's Attorney Kim Foxx. The prosecutor says the sheriff's office has identified at least 50 cases of people who have remained in custody because they cannot afford to post lower cash bonds. Patrick Kane, the hat trick. Blackhawks over the Penguins, 4-1. Big Ten hoops, Northwestern a buzzer-beating win over Michigan, 67-65. Malcolm Hill, 22. It's the Fighting Illini beat Michigan State, 73-70. The news, a service of Target. This week at Target, get $15 off when you spend $50 on laundry, cleaning supplies, and other household items. Find everything you need to stock up and save at Target. Some restrictions apply. 7:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
There are 5 times more hires made through Indeed.com than any other job site. Imagine a lottery that had 5 times more winners. A Sunday with 5 times more touchdowns. When you're hiring, it makes 5 times more sense to use Indeed. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
What's it like to be a student at Northeastern University's top 4 ranked online MBA? One recent graduate said,
"My participation in the International Field Study Program was one of the reasons why I chose Northeastern over other online MBAs. I went to Turkey and Greece, and I had access to companies like I have never experienced before. I would have never had this kind of experience had I not done this program."
To speak to an enrollment advisor, text MANAGE to 35517. That's MANAGE to 35517.
7:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Like in Warrenville, eastbound Butterfield is closed, Batavia Road to Winfield due to a crash. I-57 northbound traffic is jammed from before Steger to past Sauk Trail with a crash in the right lane and cars in the ditch. Very icy. Southbound delays are from 30 to before Sauk Trail. Farther north, 57 runs just 16 minutes. I-80 to the merge and the Bishopford 19, much improved. The Edens is 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy, 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 18 from Montrose, 15 in the Express. Outbound 27 to O'Hare. Eisenhower, 48 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 35. Stevenson 58 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow Southwest Highway to the Mile Long Bridge in pockets from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, slow 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A breezy day with a coating to an inch of snow, high 37. Tonight, evening snow showers followed by clearing. Later tonight, low 20. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high 36. Then a little snow tomorrow night, little or no accumulation, low 24. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
There may be nothing there, but if there's something there that the FBI believes is criminal in nature, then for sure you need a special prosecutor.
Look, the government's broke. We borrow $1 million a minute, so we want to completely repeal Obamacare, and we want to replace it with something market reforms that will lower the cost of health insurance for everyone.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning. What up, Dan and Amy? So let's set the table on this Jeff Sessions matter. Jeff Sessions with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak that have become today's controversy du jour because of a Washington Post story that has led for the normal histrionics from the Nancy Pelosi's of the world calling for Jeff Sessions to resign. They were calling for Jeff Sessions to resign before he was even confirmed. But the issue is this. Sessions, during his confirmation hearing, was asked questions essentially about Russian contacts with the Trump campaign and Trump aides. There is a particular exchange with Senator Al Franken from Minnesota, and his response now in the context of this information in the Washington Post that he had two meetings of note in the last year with Sergei Kislyak, who's the Russian ambassador to the United States based in D.C. One was kind of a conversation in passing at the RNC, the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, they brushed shoulders in the tunnel area in July.
Did a shot of vodka, something maybe?
Well,
I don't know.
no, not that.
And then secondly, a more formal meeting in Sessions' Senate office in September. So here's the exchange between Franken and Sessions during Sessions' confirmation hearing.
And if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
So he didn't have communications with the Russians, in addition to not having any knowledge about Trump campaign aides, current or former, having any contacts with the Russians. Then in addition to that, in an exchange with Patrick Leahy, senator from Vermont, who asked the question, quote, several of the president-elect's nominees or senior advisors have Russian ties. Have you been in contact with anyone connected to any part of the Russian government about the 2016 election? Important prepositional phrase. Either before or after Election Day? No, said Sessions. The statement from Sessions' office through a spokesman is, he was asked during the hearing about communications between Russia and the Trump campaign, not about meetings he took as a senator and member of the Armed Services Committee, where, of course, as a member of the Armed Services Committee, he meets with foreign representatives of foreign governments as a matter, of course, of doing his job.
So you just think it's a matter of questioning?
I think it's the precision of the questioning, and Sessions essentially, I don't know what was in his mind, but you can innocently construe it if you want, based on without any more evidence to show, state of mind, that he was thinking about them questioning him about the Trump campaign, about his role as a surrogate in the Trump campaign, about meetings that didn't or didn't happen with Russian officials in the context of that campaign, not in the context of his job as United States Senator and member of the Armed Services Committee. I don't think that is a stretch. And
well, you don't see it as a transparency issue or a trust issue at all, because that's, and of course, you have Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren demanding that he, step down. And even Congressman Elijah Cummings, who at first said he should step down, has changed his tune and just said, well, if you're doing the Trump-Russian investigation, he should recuse himself.
Well, for more on this, we're pleased to be joined by a conservative reform freshman senator from just next door, our neighbor to the east, Indiana. He is Senator Todd Young. Senator Young, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Dan. Amy.
So what is your take on the Sessions flap based on what we know at this point?
I think you did a really good job laying the foundation there. Right now, we're still gathering information, all the information that's available that's of an unclassified nature. It seems all we have right now is some leaks from unnamed officials within our federal government indicating we have the FBI conducting an investigation. This is a serious matter. I don't want to downplay it. Russia has national interests which are, to put it charitably, misaligned with our own. They're not our friends. We, of course, don't want our high-level government officials to have a history of interacting in a way that's inappropriate with them. That said, was anything improper done here, or were any lies told? It's not clear at all that was the case. I do think that, based on some of the statements you said, it sounds as though our now Attorney General was referring to his capacity as a surrogate for the Trump campaign. When asked about interaction with the Russians, it's entirely natural and appropriate, I might add, for a high-level U.S. Senator on the Senate Armed Services Committee to be visiting with all manner of government officials. I used to sit on the House Armed Services Committee before I was elected to the Senate. And, I visit countries like Turkey with the dictator Erdogan there. We'd go to Qatar, Middle Eastern country, not known for its human rights record, Saudi Arabia, and so on and so forth. And so those are appropriate meetings. Lying to Congress is not appropriate. It's just time we get to the bottom of this, but that may take a little time. I think it is premature to be asking for, as Elizabeth Warren did, someone to step down. I also think that at some point there may be an appearance of impropriety that's so great that the Attorney General will have to step aside and leave the investigation exclusively to others. But we don't want to create this perverse incentive where people can manufacture an appearance of impropriety, colluding with willing parties in our press. And so we're going to have to be very careful here, just to follow the facts, see where they lead, and then at some undefined threshold, if we do discover that inappropriate behavior occurred or the appearance of inappropriate behavior from the standpoint of any reasonable, observer occurred, then at that point, our Attorney General would have to step aside.
All right, so let me get this straight. You believe that Jeff Sessions should not be allowed to oversee an investigation into this administration's ties with Russia?
I believe that Jeff Sessions should not, according to Justice Department guidelines, if there is an appearance of impropriety. Now, the question is that appearance right now informed by enough facts for us to say, now is the time when he should step aside from the investigation.
Well, right.
I think reasonable people can disagree about that. I don't believe we're there yet. I'm not. I've read a couple of articles. I heard Morning Joe and Mika discussing this morning.
Well, that's not going to help.
And yeah, exactly. And I just heard, Dan and your foundation for this dialogue here. But, we are in the very early stages of learning what we can. This may move forward very quickly, though. So, the bottom line is I'm trying to do what one would hope a responsible senator would do, which is figure out enough facts to make a decision. I'm not there yet.
So you're holding your powder because, if you go down this road with just interaction with Sergei Kislyak, and maybe we should just circulate a document in Congress. Everybody disclose every meeting or conversation you've ever had with Sergei Kislyak, because he seems to be at the crucible there on the Hill. But Jack Reed, Democrat senator from Rhode Island, met with Kislyak this past October. Senators Wicker and Blunt and Landrieu met with Kislyak before. Of course, you're going to have
for AG.
You're going to have. The point is then, can they meaningfully participate in anything related to Russian policy? Can they meaningfully participate in decision-making about a special prosecutor? Should they even weigh in? Because if you've had a conversation with Sergei Kislyak, then you're just... Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Why
not come clean then and just say, look, when I was part of the House Armed Services Committee, I met with him in my office in September. That's kind of a bigger deal than just brushing shoulders at the RNC in July.
Senate Armed Services Committee. The Sessions spokesman statements, they don't recall the exact nature of the conversations, probably because it was relatively pedestrian. And also, during Sessions' confirmation hearing, he also suggested that he wasn't going to disclose meetings he's had with foreign dignitaries as it pertains to his job as United States Senator. So it's a lot more complicated than Senator Pocahontas and Raccoon, scared raccoon face want to make it sound.
Amy, coming clean suggests that something dirty was done. And it could also suggest, just a lack of clarity. I get that. We need clarity. We shouldn't presuppose that something, adverse or criminal took place. But let me go on record. This needs to be fully investigated. The FBI is investigating it. We will, in the Senate, over in the House, in an unclassified open setting where appropriate, and in classified settings where it's not appropriate to have, certain conversations. We're going to be fully briefed on this stuff. And, if I learn facts in the very near term or weeks into this that suggest, have at some level of specificity, inappropriate behavior occurred or appears to have occurred, then yes, we should not have the Attorney General overseeing his own investigation.
Right,
that would be highly irresponsible.
Of course. Yeah. I want to get you to weigh in on another topic that was center stage with the Trump address on Tuesday night, and that is Obamacare repeal. Rand Paul was on with Jake Tapper yesterday, and he said, look, there is going to be no repeal until and unless conservatives have their say on it. There's some disagreement about what repeal should look like. You're a conservative United States Senator. What's the say that you want to have on Obamacare repeal in terms of what it should look like and when it should move?
Well, I really enjoy working with Rand, and, I suspect what Rand meant by that, about have his say, is he doesn't want to get jammed. He doesn't want a package to be baked together behind closed doors and then passed out of the House, assuming they achieve some measure of consensus.
No.
Did we lose Senator Young? Did we lose him?
It's not a vote. We're happy.
Yeah.
Having the bottom fall out of our health insurance market, which is exactly where we're headed if we don't do anything. So Obamacare is broken. It's an absolute disaster. If Hillary Clinton had been elected president and Democrats had taken control of the House and kept control of the Senate, this would have had to be the first order of business. They would have had to come up with some way to replace Obamacare. And so we're doing the work. It would be great if we got a little cooperation here. But, yeah, I joined Rand in saying I want to be fully briefed on what's going on. And we did have some briefings yesterday working with House leaders, and hopefully his level of confidence in some of the details is growing. Mine grew a bit in the course of yesterday's conversation.
All right. He is Senator Todd Young, freshman Republican senator from the great state of Indiana. Senator Young, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. All the best.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
We need to get a bat line into this place so there's no more crackling. And
Intelligence community was eavesdropping on that conversation. We're going to be named in
the NSA. Today it's going to be cold, cloudy right now, and then some more snow, anywhere from a coating to an inch by this afternoon, a high of 37 degrees. And tonight, a couple of evening snow showers, followed by an Arctic blast, a low of 20 degrees. And tomorrow, grab your winter gear once again because we're going to have some clouds and sun, but it'll still be chilly around the low to mid 30s. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Kennedy inbound. Delays start at Harlem, 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 20 from Montrose, 19 in the Express. Outbound 33 minutes to the airport. Edens, 22 minutes, Lake Hook Junction, outbound 24. The Eisenhower is now 54 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 40 from Manheim. Outbound it's 36 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson inbound delays start past 126. An hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. 44 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound now okay. Ryan, 31 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are in pockets between Southwest Highway and 31st. That's from the Reagan all the way to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, slow Archer to I-55 and Fountain to the Reagan Tollway. I-80 still heavy eastbound, 80th Avenue to 183rd and westbound 355 to 30. Crash on the right side. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kurt Penn, founder and CEO of Good Foods. In 2007, I was shopping in a natural foods grocery store and had a vision for a company that would produce fresh, all-natural foods with a social conscience. Signature Bank helped turn that vision into what now is Good Foods. Signature Bank President Mick O'Rourke listened to our story and learned about our business. Mick has been with us every step of the way. Signature Bank takes care of the details so we can focus on producing good foods. Signature Bank is deeply invested in our success. Good Foods is very proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you could quickly and painlessly clear your psoriasis or vitiligo, would you?
No matter how big the psoriasis is, no matter how small the psoriasis, we can help you.
Ashley is a clinical specialist for Extract, the amazing in-office treatment for psoriasis and vitiligo that's clinically proven to show immediate results with up to 95% clearance.
What my patients love most about the Extract treatments is it's safe, it's FDA cleared, and they're seeing results very quickly.
End the embarrassing, painful patches and discoloration with Extract. There's no medications, no topical ointments, and virtually no side effects. Extract uses light to transform your skin and change your life. It's covered by all major insurances and Medicare, and will help you find a doctor close by.
I love what I do. I love coming in every day and making a difference in patients' lives. It's amazing.
Call now to live Extract clear. Call 800-961-9279. That's 800-961-9279. 800-961-9279 or visit xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Beth Schrank, here to tell you about my family's business. Over 50 years ago, my father opened Schrank Smoke and Gun based on his love of shooting and hunting. Our proud family has carried on his legacy. I'd like to invite you to our annual store-wide sale, Friday, February 24th through Saturday, March 4th. All store-owned inventory is on sale. Mossberg Persuader Home Defense Shotguns for $389, Taurus Millenniums for $229, and the ever-popular Glock 19 Gen 4 for $539. All store-owned firearms are up to 40% off. Stock up on special-priced value packs of Winchester range ammo, plus all ammo, components, firearm accessories, and knives are also on sale. Don't forget to visit our smoke shop for discounted cigars. For details, visit smoke.gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Remember, you won't pay any additional gun or ammo taxes in Lake County. That's 847-662-4034. We look forward to seeing you at Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, Amy, I'm just thinking about the winners in this whole Jeff Sessions flap, because there's always winners and losers and controversies. The big winner, Mike Flynn and Jeff Sessions, these Russian controversies, Yakov Smirnoff. There's no question about it. I mean, he's going to be selling out in Branson for decades to come. In Soviet, wait, what's my?
What are you talking about?
Yakov Smirnoff. You don't know the Russian comedian?
What a country!
That guy.
Okay.
In America, you watch TV. In Soviet Russia, TV watch you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Making news this morning, Dan. This is the person who could break the glass ceiling, could be the first female president of the United States. Who am I talking about? Oprah Winfrey. She sat down yesterday with Bloomberg Television and revealed that she may be considering a run for president in 2020 or maybe sooner.
I actually never thought that was, I never considered the question even a possibility. I just thought, oh.
Right, because it's clear that you don't need government experience to be elected president of the United States, right?
I thought, oh, gee, I don't have the experience. I don't know enough. I don't know. And now I'm thinking, oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Well, now, speaking of that's the name of your magazine, right?
Yes, it is.
Right. So a couple final questions before we wrap up. As you consider whether you're going to run for president or not, in the United States or not.
No, that won't be happening. But I did used to think, well, gee, you had to know so much more than I thought you had to know.
So I guess I won't be running. But there's a story of other celebrities that are considering it, including Oprah, but based on the first part of what she said. Former I guess he's still a CEO, Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Mark Cuban. Kanye West.
Come on.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Please, you're making me nauseous over here.
Bob Iger, CEO of Disney.
I mean, the Democrats need to find a beloved candidate, and who is more beloved than Oprah Winfrey?
You know who they should run for president in 2020?
Who?
Steve Bertier from Kentucky. He's just ornery enough to win.
What a country.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. Leslie, people have spring fever. Consumer confidence is up, and that means spending. We want folks to enjoy what they've worked so hard for, but don't forget...
Craig, are you trying to tell me something? I know. Retirement's right around the corner.
Listen, a new season is time for regrowth and building on what you already have. You don't need to do it alone if you have Wealth Management Group at your side.
Spring into action and make Wealth Management Group your go-to partner. And listen to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The letter showed up in my mailbox with no tracks in the snow, and it might have been signed by God.
You're not thinking about going there, are you?
Tonight.
Mackenzie Phillips.
Do I know you?
Believe in miracles.
Why did you bring me here?
The pain inside is devouring you.
We'd like to heal it if you'd let us.
That's why you're here, Mackenzie. This is your flying lesson.
The Shack, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Soundtrack featuring the new single, When I Pray For You, from Dan and Shay. In theaters tonight.
Hey, real quick, Dan, the Democratic Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver came out yesterday and said, yeah, we made the wrong choice of having Steve Beshear give the rebuttal to Trump's address.
Steve Beshear doesn't think so.
You're probably not thinking about back to school season right now. In fact, most parents with kids in school are more likely to be thinking about spring break. But now's the best time to think about where you'll be sending the kiddies off to school this fall. It's a big decision, and you may have felt like private school simply wasn't in the budget for your family. Well, think again, because we want to remind you about halfpriceschools.com, where you can find local private schools from all over the Chicagoland area that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price with no catch. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It's really that simple. They have schools located all across the area. Ready? Including Mount Prospect, wow. Oak Lawn, Bensonville, Waukegan, South Holland, just to name a few. So make private schools affordable for your family for the first time this year, but do not wait. These vouchers always sell out. Halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What should Obamacare repeal look like? We're going to talk to Ovik Roy, the editor of Forbes Opinion, at 7:37.
And later, Beau Biden's widow has found a new love, and she's keeping it in the family. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
27 degrees, and we have cloudy skies right now. Winds out of the north at 8 give us a wind chill of 23 above. Russian embassy officials playing down reports that Attorney General Jeff Sessions met with the ambassador during the presidential campaign. A spokesperson for the embassy on the record says they do not comment on regular contact with U.S. partners. Some top congressional Democrats claim Sessions may have lied under oath about communicating with Russian officials. They want him to resign, but California Republican Congressman Kevin McCarthy has a different idea.
I'm just now reading about this myself. I could see in his role as senator, yes, meeting with different ambassadors. I just think he needs to clarify what these meetings were and when did he have them.
Former U.S. officials say members of the Obama White House also left a trail for investigators about Russian efforts to undermine the presidential election. Reports out of Turkey say an earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 5.5 has hit a town in the southeastern part of that country, causing a number of injuries, perhaps death, according to rescue workers on the scene. President Trump will highlight his call for a huge military buildup on board a new aircraft carrier today. Trump is scheduled to speak on board the USS Gerald R. Ford. The Lake County Health Department confirming one case at a Barrington High School of a student contracting mumps, but an email from District 220 says several additional cases are suspected. And communities across the state cleaning up after deadly storms produced tornadoes and moved through much of the state this week. Patrick Kane a hat trick in the Blackhawks win over the Penguins 4-1. Big Ten basketball, Northwestern a buzzer-beating win over Michigan, and the Fighting Illini roll over Michigan State 73-70. The news service of Target this week at Target. Get $15 off when you spend $50 on laundry, cleaning supplies, and other household items. Find everything you need to stock up and save at Target. Some restrictions apply. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I'd say the same thing to a billionaire that I would say to somebody making $30,000 a year.
The Joe Walsh Show.
The money you make, the money you earn, the money you invest, that's your money, damn it. And I think it's your duty, it's your right to do whatever you can do legally to limit what you give government, because we have a government that's too damn big.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you hiring? Indeed.com delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job opening on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
7:36. A check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens is 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Kennedy, 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 33. The Eisenhower, now 56 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 36. Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive with delays starting around Weber, outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan, 31 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound I-57, bottled up Flossmoor Road to I-80. There's a crash in the ditch. Northbound Tri-State, very slow. Southwest Highway to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial from Archer to 135th, and Fountain to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic service of PioneerElectronics.com. In Chicago, traffic information is vital. It can mean the difference between a 30-minute and a 2-hour drive. With Pioneer's in-dash GPS navigation, traffic is displayed on a map in real time. Traffic on demand. Visit pioneerelectronics.com/Chicago to find a retailer. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. A cold day ahead. Snow at times. A coating to an inch. High 37. Currently 28. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the discussion within Republican ranks over Obamacare repeal and what form it should take continues. Rand Paul on with Jake Tapper yesterday saying this about Senate participation in whatever a final repeal plan would look like.
Well, you know, about a year ago, every Republican in the House and the Senate voted for what we thought was about as much as we could repeal. And we don't want to vote for anything less than that. We don't want to keep Obamacare light. We don't want to add in new subsidies or new entitlement programs. Look, the government's broke. We borrow $1 million a minute. So we want to completely repeal Obamacare, and we want to replace it with something, market reforms, that will lower the cost of health insurance for everyone. But we're not just going along with whatever they try to shove down our throats. We're going to be a big part of this. Conservatives will be listened to, or there won't be a repeal.
Well, that's kind of a bright line that Rand Paul has drawn, and he's specifically talking about the proposal that would include tax credits, which is another form of an entitlement, money that's somebody else's that's given to you. That's a problem for some conservatives, both in the House, the Republican Study Committee, and clearly for Rand Paul. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by an expert in this policy area and the editor of Forbes Opinion. He is Ovik Roy. Ovik, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So your reaction to Rand Paul's comments and what they portend for getting agreement on what repeal should look like and advancing it through both chambers.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you know, Republicans have been united in what they're against, Obamacare, but they're divided about what they're for. And a big part of the problem is, frankly, guys like Rand Paul, who don't really understand how messed up the healthcare system is and what to do about it. Because the fact is, the reason why there's so many people who are uninsured in America, the reason why healthcare is so expensive for people even who are insured, is because of things the federal government has done to mess up the healthcare system since World War II and in the 1960s under LBJ and the Great Society. We're still paying the bills for all those mistakes, and we've really got to reform this system. And if Rand Paul wants to, you know, be against that, that's his right as a senator, of course. But he's going to thwart the ability of Republicans to pass consumer-driven, market-based reforms if he does that.
Well, how about giving tax credits to poor families who buy health insurance? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, listen, I mean, again, why is health care so expensive? It's because the federal government has chosen to massively subsidize health care for rich people. You and I and your listeners all pay taxes so that Warren Buffett and Mitt Romney and Hillary Clinton and Ken Griffin can get government-subsidized health insurance. So we heavily subsidize health insurance for rich people through Medicare and through the exclusion from taxation of employer-based health insurance. And so what a lot of Republicans are trying to say is, let's balance the playing field out. Let's make sure that lower-income people and really vulnerable populations are getting some sort of tax benefit the way upper-income people do. That's all that Republicans are trying to do. It's not what Rand Paul thinks.
And Krauthammer was on Fox yesterday suggesting, hey, look, you've got to cover people that are the winners in Obamacare, that small percentage of people that are actually the winners in Obamacare as you transition to something else, because if you don't, then you're going to lose the PR battle when people who need health insurance and thus ongoing health care are not provided with the same health care coverage they currently enjoy. The flip side of that is a new study out by researchers from Harvard and University of Texas at Austin that actually finds that those who are most in need of care, suffering from serious ailments like MS and rheumatoid arthritis and others, actually get lower quality coverage and care because of the perverse incentives that Obamacare sets up. So it seems to me Republicans are always afraid of, we believe in the market, but we don't want to have to defend it against this utopian argument that the left makes, rather than saying, we believe in the market, it's going to be the most efficient, but importantly, the most moral system. It's going to be the most effective system for the least among us, and make that argument in context to what is actually happening to the least among us, the most in need of health care at present.
Yeah, listen, we don't call it welfare when we try to have special schools for kids who are learning disabled or have special needs. We don't call it welfare when we try to help people who are disabled get financial assistance they need to live their lives, right? So the thing is, there are ways to provide direct financial assistance to the people who really need the help and let the free market in health care work for everyone else. That's not what we've chosen to do for a very long time, and Obamacare definitely makes that worse. But we shouldn't say that just because Obamacare doesn't work, there aren't market-based solutions to achieve the goals that Obamacare claims to support. We could cover the uninsured in this country very easily at a fraction of what we currently spend on health care. Here's something that people need to understand. People talk about Obamacare as the government takeover of the healthcare system. The government takeover of the healthcare system happened in 1965 when Medicare and Medicaid were passed. If you look at how much federal spending in particular, but also state and local spending, is spent on healthcare, that we spent more than all the two other countries in the world before Obamacare. And yes, Obamacare did make that worse. But again, my point is, we can provide the financial assistance to the vulnerable and the needy, and let's get the government out of the way for those of us who can afford to buy health coverage on our own, who don't need that financial assistance. If we just converted the system to that, we would spend a fraction, a quarter of what we spend today, and we'd have more people with health insurance than have today.
But to lower health care prices, we need competition, and we need to buy across state lines. Is that part of Trump's plan?
Absolutely. As you know, the president talks about this quite a bit. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of insurance companies don't like this idea because they like having, a state like Illinois that they have a near monopoly in and then don't have to compete with rivals in other states. So that's going to be a tough fight getting that through. But I'll tell you also, that'll help. It'll help to buy insurance across state lines. It'll help to do malpractice reform, these traditional Republican solutions. These will all help. But at the end of the day, if you really want to get at why health care is so expensive in America, it's because the government has made it effectively free for a lot of upper-income people. And you don't think that it's free, but it's very heavily subsidized, again, for people on Medicare, and it's very heavily subsidized for people who get health insurance through their employer.
Right,
we spend $1.3 trillion a year subsidizing health insurance for upper-income people through Medicare and the tax code.
And
trillion with a T.
And with respect to, just kind of to make this granular, with respect to somebody on Medicare today or going on Medicare today, right now, real time, they will, what's the number again? They will have paid in $1 into the system for every $2.50 they get in coverage back. Is that right?
$3, yeah.
$3 back.
So look, people have paid into the system to some degree, but everyone else is paying a lot more to get them that benefit than they paid in. And that's the point. Is those dollars aren't just helping lower income people or lower middle class people who are struggling, who we might want to help, but those dollars are also going to upper income people who don't need the help. And this is what's broken about our healthcare system. And so Rand Paul, to go back to the initial part of the segment, Rand Paul talks a big game about free markets when it comes to poor uninsured people. But I wish he would take as strong of a stand about the fact that we spend trillions of dollars subsidizing health insurance for rich people. Single-payer health insurance, by the way. Yeah. Why don't we tackle that problem before we start taking money away from poor people?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, so are you suggesting means testing at the top as a glide path to get better and more lasting market reforms?
Exactly. So let's make sure that for people who can afford, who don't need financial help from the government, from the taxpayer, we'll get the government out of the way and let them buy health insurance and health care on the open market. That starts to create a market for health insurance, which is what we don't have today. Make sure that there's a market for people who can afford it, and then you gradually phase that in for everyone else as the competition and all that stuff, the magic of the market, drives prices down and increases quality.
He is Avik Roy, editor of Forbes Opinion, president of the Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity, and also the author of the book, Transcending Obamacare, How Medicaid Fails the Poor. Avik, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Talking about reimbursement rates are below cost. I like this. Today, cold, a little snow at times, anywhere from a dusting to an inch. By this afternoon, 37 degrees. So get your winter gear out. I don't know if you'll need the snow shovel, but you'll need a hat and gloves because tonight it's going to be a low of 20. And then tomorrow, Friday, cold, clouds and sun, a high of 36. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. A lot of icy bridges out there. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Yes, that's right, Amy. It's slick and icy south and west of Chicago. Some earlier bridge closures have lifted now. The only closure left actually is in Bridgeport after an early morning wreck. Halstead still blocked off between 33rd and the 35th, but it's still icy northbound I-57 slow from before Steger to Passsaw Trail after a crash. Then from Flossmoor Road to I-80, where there's a car in the ditch. There's been a lot of that. On the Edens inbound, it's 20 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Kennedy, now 44 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 42 minutes. Northbound I-55 delays start at Weber. Then it's an hour and 10 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. Ryan, 33 minutes. 95th to downtown. Veterans Memorial, really heavy with delays from 127th to the Reagan Tollway. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
The website, upstream-ideas.com. Go there, sign up today to receive premium content that complements what we do each morning on this program with selected interviews against the current long-form interview series this week featuring CNBC contributor Jim Iuorio. Talk about Trump economic policy. Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments with Trump protesters this week, as well as 2-minute warnings and 60-second commentaries and podcasts of Illinois Rising, our program that covers Illinois politics and policy. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020. That's 800-518-4020.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so have you seen this video of Uber CEO Travis Kalanick and a Uber black car driver? His name is Fauzi Kamel.
Yeah, I saw it and it makes me want to delete my Uber app on my phone and go with somebody else.
Well, so...
Because they did that in Boston when 200 people decided to form a solidarity against Uber and dropped them.
Yeah, so here's the deal. The driver, Mr. Kamel, had Kalanick in the backseat, a couple of girls, and then when the ride was over, they had arrived at their destination, he began addressing the issue of cut in rates for black car drivers.
Yeah, it used to be $20 then plus, and then they dropped it. And he said he did it for competition. Well, you can hear him explain himself.
Well, it's a per mile thing, and you've got your Uber X, you've got your Uber Select, and you've got your Uber black car, and there's different rates per mile. And the driver essentially is making the case that he's lost a lot of money since he's been a driver as the rates continue to be dropped to respond to the competitive marketplace. And he's not appreciative of it. He can't even make minimum wage. So this is the exchange where Kalanick loses his temper and becomes a little petulant.
But people are not trusting you anymore. Do you think people will buy cars anymore? Unless they buy them through the invoice. Otherwise, nobody want to buy a car. I lost $97,000 because of you. I bankrupt because of you.
Look.
Yes. You know what? You keep changing every day. You keep changing.
Hold on a
every
second.
day.
What have I changed about black?
Huh?
What
you
have I
changed
changed?
the whole business.
What?
You dropped the prices
on black.
Yes, you did. With $20. Started with $20.
You know what?
How much is the mile now? $2.75?
You know what?
What?
Some people don't like to take responsibility for
I
their
take
They blame everything
But
in
why
their
you
life on
sending an
somebody
email
else.
for town car?
Good luck.
Good luck to you too, but I know you don't gonna go far.
But I know you're not going to go far.
So the issue is the rate per mile. It's also the split between Uber and the Uber driver that one increase from, I think it's 80-20, meaning 20 for Uber, to go to like 70-30 for black car. So it's the rate decrease plus taking a bigger share. And then Kalanick behaved badly.
Well, yeah, he wrote, yesterday saying it's clear this video is a reflection of me and the criticism we've received is a stark reminder that I must fundamentally change as a leader and grow up.
Yeah, he's a bit of a punk. He added...
He looks like a punk.
Kalanick added, this is the first time I've been willing to admit that I need leadership help, and I intend to get it. So now he's going to go...
Yeah, like a 12-step counseling program for becoming a better leader.
I'm a rageaholic, and now I'm going to go away for 30 days and come back and review my stock options while I'm
they should
gone
kick
for
him
30
out.
days.
That, and then the fact that one employee was sexually harassed by her boss and nobody did anything about it.
Well, he was fired. The employee was fired.
No, well, after,
Yes.
but after
Yes.
24 complaints, because they kept saying, oh, this is his first offense, and then somebody else came forward, and then somebody else came forward, and then finally he got the boot.
The Kalanick exchange with the driver is interesting. I mean, to some extent, he's probably right. I mean, you change rates and cost structure in part in response to competition. Now, there are other ways to potentially change your business model that don't engender the revolt that Uber is seeing. As you mentioned, Boston, I know San Francisco, some other places around the country. I mean, so the driver has a bit of an entitlement mentality, but that's not the way to handle somebody you referred to as a partner. All the Uber drivers are referred to as partners.
Oh, yeah, right.
The great thing about this, though, is number one, it highlights that all of those feel-good leftists that founded and run Uber and financed Uber, Ari Emanuel, David Plouffe
is in charge there now.
Obama campaign manager, who's their lobbyist, political goon. For all their working men and women of the world unite blather, first of all, they've got no use for you, and second of all, they're bottom line sensitive. It turns out when they're in the private sector, just not when they're in the public sector. So I just like to see a punk like Kalanick and the whole band of lefties that are actually in charge at Uber exposed for who they really are. They don't believe in capitalism in theory, allowing you to practice capitalism, but they are happy to do so in practice for their benefit, and even, what they would term, if it wasn't them, exploiting the worker to do so.
Not available in all states.
Hey, you two. What brings you to the mall?
We're just here checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Our recent Irvy's Froyo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
It serves frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds.
Recent Irvy's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
Just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 2424. But hurry, because they're going fast. froyofranchising.com, promo code 2424.
Napa know-how.
Spend $24 on anything at Napa this month, and you'll get a free Chase Elliott racing cap. You can spend it on oil. You can spend it on wiper blades. Heck, spend it on a year's supply of Pine Tree air fresheners. No matter what you spend $24 on, you'll walk away with a free Chase Elliott racing cap planted firmly on your noggin. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 3/31/17.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer. A good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
You may not be aware of the term fiduciary, but if you are working with a financial professional, it's important to know what it means. A firm that operates under a fiduciary standard has the duty by law to put the client's best interest first. Kelly Financial Services is bound by this standard and must choose the best investment products available and have a reason for recommending them. Financial professionals who work for a brokerage or an insurance company are only held to a suitability standard. Kelly Financial Services works on a fee basis. That gives us incentive to grow your portfolio because our interests are aligned with yours. Call John Herron and our team at Kelly Financial Services. Our number is 708-576-8999. Again, that's 708-576-8999. Kelly Financial Services.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The media was misled. We'll take your sympathy calls at 808.
And sign the card. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
26 degrees, cloudy skies, and the death toll rises in the Ottawa tornado. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Some Democrats want Attorney General Jeff Sessions to resign over meetings with Russia's ambassador not disclosed during his confirmation hearing. Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy says
the Attorney General just needs to clarify to the American people what that was. And as a U.S. Senator, his role is to meet with ambassadors as well.
Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is denying he misled Congress when he testified under oath that he never met with Russian officials during the presidential campaign to discuss political matters. He spoke to NBC this morning.
Well, I have not met with any Russians at any time to discuss any political campaign, and those remarks are unbelievable to me and are false.
Sessions said if necessary, he'd recuse himself from any DOJ investigation involving alleged Trump-Payne campaign contacts and Russian officials. Dave?
John, a Senate vote's planned this morning to give President Trump another member of his cabinet. One of his ex-rivals in the campaign, Dr. Ben Carson, expected to be confirmed as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
It will leave 5 other cabinet and cabinet-level nominees still waiting for confirmation votes. President Trump and Senate Republicans have long complained of delays, arguing the cabinet is the slowest to win confirmation since George Washington. Democrats argue the wealth of some nominees requires extra scrutiny of financial ties.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the Capitol. The U.S. is attacking al-Qaeda again in Yemen, launching airstrikes A month ago, a special forces raid in Yemen left a Navy SEAL dead. President Trump today will board an aircraft carrier in Virginia, pushing his plan to increase defense spending. 2 Syrian nationals arrested in Germany. One of them
faces claims he committed war crimes, participating in the murder of dozens of civilians when his Nusra Front unit killed 36 Syrian government employees. The killings described as Sharia death sentences.
Fox's Simon Owen. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Clouds and a little bit of sunshine, 26 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. One man is dead following a single vehicle crash on Chicago's south side. It happened this morning when he sideswiped a parked vehicle and slammed into a light pole near 34th and Halstead. One of the conspirators in the federal bribery scandal that brought down former CPS CEO Barbara Byrd Bennett will be sentenced later this month. Prosecutors saying that Gary Solomon should receive a 9-year prison term after pleading guilty to wire fraud last year. Lake County health officials are confirming one student at Barrington High School has contracted mumps. Superintendent says there are several additional suspected cases, but they have yet to be confirmed. Communities across the state continuing cleanup after deadly tornadoes moved through much of the state. At least 3 have died in the Midwest, 2 in this state. Tornado survivor Debbie Lowridge says she and her son had to huddle in a bathroom until the storm was over.
We got to find a place to move and then start all over again.
Governor Rauner and IEMA Director James Joseph toured some of the damage in LaSalle County after what's been determined to be an F3 tornado. Tore through that area with winds of up to 155 miles an hour. McDonald's says it will launch a mobile order and pay and curbside pickup in the U.S. toward the end of the year. The world's biggest burger chain made the announcement during its Investor Day here in the Chicago area Wednesday. Patrick Kane, a hat trick. Blackhawks over the Penguins 4-1. Big Ten hoops getting to be crunch time ahead of the tournament. Northwestern a win over Michigan 67-65. Fighting Illini win over Michigan State 73-70. The news service of the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. It's 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Yahoo's executives are being blamed for the massive hacking at the company. Yahoo's board says Chief Executive Marissa Mayer and colleagues failed to properly comprehend or investigate the 2014 security breach. Mayer will not receive a cash bonus for last year and will give up her stock award for this year. Lyft is approaching investors trying to secure at least $500 million of credit. The Wall Street Journal says it's working on expanding and hopes to gain from recent negative publicity surrounding Uber. Lyft is about to open in more than 90 new markets. Snap Inc., parent company of Snapchat, goes public today. Its stock is priced at $17 a share. The Dow Jones Industrials broke through the 21,000 mark yesterday. The Dow was up 303 points, NASDAQ gained 78, S&P up 32. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks some tough news to protesters.
Okay, good. Go march around. Carry a sandwich board and yell that he's not my president. The ultimate truth is he is. You want to stand around and think you're going to make a difference? Go ahead. I believe with all of my heart, you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to move the needle 1 inch.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring. 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
I know I need to earn my MBA if I want to move up. I'm looking for an MBA that offers unique concentrations. I want an online MBA that's top-ranked, established. I care about the school's reputation because I know my future employers will too.
Thinking about earning your MBA? At Northeastern's DeMoore McKim School of Business, we offer a 100% online MBA with 8 concentrations that can help set you apart in today's competitive workforce.
To speak to an enrollment advisor, text MANAGE to 37913.
8:06, and let's get a check of the roads at our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Madison, eastbound 30 is closed. Central to I-57 with a crash, and westbound Vollmer is closed. Cicero to I-57 with a crash and icy conditions. Edens is 20 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 28. Kennedy, delay starting at Foster, 48 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 32 from Montrose, 28 in the Express. Outbound 33 to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour. Thorndale to downtown, 45 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 45 to Thorndale. Outbound Stevenson, an hour and 9 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 37 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95 to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive heavy at 40 minutes. Hollywood to Monroe, and northbound very slow Oakwood to the Stevenson. Southbound Tri-State slow 120 to 137. Northbound Harlem to 31st, and from the Reagan Slow to North Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today breezy and cold with a little snow accumulating a coating to an inch, high 37. Couple of evening snow showers followed by clearing later tonight, low 20. Clouds and sunshine for tomorrow. Still cold though with a high 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Clouds and sun 27 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
There may be nothing there, but if there's something there that the FBI believes is criminal in nature, then for sure you need a special prosecutor.
Look, the government's broke. We borrow $1 million a minute, so we want to completely repeal Obamacare, and we want to replace it with something market reforms that will lower the cost of health insurance for everyone.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. The question, is it ever okay to mislead the media? 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. And of course, I'm asking this in the context of elected officials. Is it okay for elected officials to mislead the media? Because I know, Amy, you're quite exercised about this revelation that perhaps members of the Trump administration misled members of the D.C. press corps in advance of his speech on Tuesday.
Yeah, so on Tuesday, there was a luncheon for selected anchors from Fox. I know our friend Brett Baer was there, so I'll ask him about this tomorrow. Certain CNN reporters are there, ABC, Cecilia Vega, NBC, I can go on. And they were told during this luncheon that the president envisions an immigration bill where those who haven't committed any serious crimes could stay in the U.S. legally.
New York Times put a news alert out the afternoon before the speech saying essentially Trump was going to propose some sort of amnesty.
Yeah, that he would grant millions of illegal immigrants legal status. I mean, It was big breaking news. Here's what CNN printed out, too, saying Trump envisions bill. This is a new Trump, it's a compromise on both sides that, Trump told reporters it was going to happen. Well, now we're learning that was a misdirection play, that they were lying to the media to generate positive press coverage into his address before Congress. And they're not lying about it. Yeah, this is Sarah Murphy, who is a CNN reporter. She also fills in, she anchors on the weekends. She was at the luncheon.
Sarah Murray or Murphy?
Sarah Murray, excuse me. And she called them out on it, and they said, yeah, we completely was a misdirection play, and they lied to journalists.
He talked about a path to legal status. Basically, they fed up things that they thought these anchors would like, that they thought would give them positive press coverage for the next few hours. A senior administration official admitted that it was a misdirection play. And you will note that when the president was actually out there speaking to the American public, he didn't talk about a path to legal status. He talked about reforming the legal immigration system so it's merit-based. That means fewer low-skilled workers, fewer people coming on family ties, more people coming on high-skilled visas. That is still closer to a Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon framework of the world than Gang of Eight, who pushed comprehensive immigration reform.
Yeah, it's kind of right there in the middle, actually, Miss Murray. So yeah, boy,
So
the
should
idea of
reporters ever trust White House officials going forward?
the idea of being
I mean, they use them like a pawn.
the idea of being manipulated by politicians in power.
No, I think this is disgusting. I
Do
mean, I
you?
had such high hopes for Trump after his address to joint session of Congress. I was so excited. And now this morning. This is, it's disheartening. And also, too, he gave false hope to millions of people who are law-abiding citizens who are here illegally.
Well, they're
Yeah, well,
kind of
no,
an
because
contradiction
that was,
in terms,
right.
but okay.
I mean, I know they came here illegally, but they're, functioning members of our community who were so excited Tuesday afternoon at school pickup thinking, oh my gosh, now maybe we can stay.
What did you think of Susan Rice being trotted out to manipulate the media with respect to the Benghazi attack? We now know that they knew it was terrorist right away, but they put Susan Rice on those Sunday talk shows and stuck with that story, aided and abetted by the media, oh, by the way, for months on end.
Why is that the media's fault? That's what the White House, that's what the administration told the media. Susan Rice didn't know that they were lying at the time, did she? They just gave her a script and said, this is what happened.
Okay.
Go sell it to the media.
Okay, so let me see if I can establish a baseline here.
Yes.
The issue is the White House manipulating the media. That's the issue, as I understand it. Is that right?
Well, they're not denying it. Yes, it was a complete misdirection play.
And we now know that the State Department knew when it happened in real time that the attack in the Benghazi compound was not some spontaneous protest in response to a Nakula video, but in point of fact, a organized terrorist attack on the compound. Yet, they trotted out Susan Rice, who was part of the national security team, to say things on Sunday talk shows that were not true. The President of the United States said things about the attack that were not true weeks after the attack. The lines of untruths coming from the Obama administration about that attack persisted for months. That is no longer in question what they knew the night of the attack. So I ask again, what was your reaction to Susan Rice and the administration purposely manipulating the media and then being aided and abetted by the media and misleading the American people about that?
Did Obama have a State of the Union address that day or later that week? No, they did this on the day of his address to Congress to get positive press coverage. It's wrong on so many levels.
Excuse me. So that
I don't think you can compare the two, Dan. Just like you don't think I could compare the two between Jeff Sessions lying before Congress and Bill Clinton having a clandestine meeting with Loretta Lynch on the runway.
Well, the reason you can't compare the two is because you haven't even accurately stated the comparison. No, Jeff Sessions lying before Congress is your conclusion. It's not anybody else's. I mean, it's the accusation. There's nothing to substantiate it. I mean, I understand you're a journalist and you want to make sure you've got your evidence. So you're just reporting the facts, not drawing conclusions that are fact-free like you just did. So that's number one. Number two, explain to me how the proximity and time of the manipulation matters. So if you do it a few days before the Sunday talk shows, then it's okay. But if you did it the same day as a talk show, that it's not okay. If you do it in a speech a week after the attack, it's okay. But if you did it in a speech the night of the attack, it wouldn't be okay. What's the distinction? I'm confused.
Well, they did this a few hours before.
I know they did. What's the distinction?
Well, they did that specifically to get positive press coverage. And I don't think Obama did that to get positive press coverage. He was just trying to save his arse.
What's the difference between getting coverage to benefit yourself politically and getting positive press coverage? I don't understand the distinction.
Okay, fine. Maybe they're one and the same. Fine.
Right.
You win. Okay. Bye-bye. I mean, I'm sure somebody agrees with me. This is
I'm sure they
wrong.
don't. I'm sure they
on
don't.
a number of levels. You cannot.
Let me ask you another example.
We're going to buy you lunch. Come on, guys. We're going to round up. We'll meet you at this location. Oh, look, we just, he's going to concede on certain guidelines of the immigration policy. Dine on your free lunch, your caviar. We'll find out what they had to lunch, what they fed them, because they fed them also a line of bull besides that free lunch they got.
Now let me offer another example. See if we can shed any light on the topic. We created an echo chamber, said Ben Rhodes, when asked about arms control experts that appeared at think tanks and were then used as sources for hundreds of reporters, whom Ben Rhodes described as clueless. They were saying things that validated what we had given them to say, said Ben Rhodes, Deputy National Security Advisor for Obama, about selling the Iran nuclear deal and using surrogates that were told what to say to go out and manipulate the press in advance of their political position. Get good press, as you might say.
Okay.
So what about the echo chamber that Ben Rhodes detailed painstakingly in the New York Times that they created with compliant journalists and automatons from think tanks that had the imprimatur of credibility to sell the Iran nuclear deal? Does that manipulation of the press and the American people, does that concern you at all?
Yes, it does. Maybe I'm more upset because this is the first time Trump has done it. And it's such a blatant way. And I cannot wait until we have Brett Baer on here tomorrow morning to see if he fell for it. Because I do remember, he did fall for it. Because I watched Special Report that night, and he had mentioned this big change in immigration policy.
Do you think the media manipulates? Is the media manipulation, does that go one way? Does the spin go one way from politicians to the media? Or does the media spin things as well? Do they engage in their own manipulation? I'll give you an example. Today, there's a story in the State Journal Register about me and my newspapers from Bernie Schoenberg, who I've known forever. That's complete agitprop. It's Bernie Schoenberg improperly parsing words, mischaracterizing stories purposely, providing stylized biographical information on me to try and drive a market position. So does the media manipulation of policy and policy positions, advocacy, does that ever occur, or is it just in one direction? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, you don't know.
Media
it's a real
manipulation
mystery.
didn't affect real people who were excited Tuesday afternoon thinking that they could stay here.
Oh, my goodness. Sean in Elmwood Park here in Chicago's Morning Answer.
I hate it when mom and dad fight. And here's the other thing, Prof. You remember how Peaches stuck up for you when you had that out-of-work communist father from New Trier. She was in the studio with you, and she was sticking up for you. So a little respect for Amy. She's a little dingy.
Okay.
She's a little dingy, but she's our Amy. And when a fight breaks out, you're going to need her. Here's what the real story is. The useful idiot is the reporters, and they always have been. Whether they're siding with Barack Obama on socialized medicine, you can keep your doctor, or his omnibuses and stimuluses and TARP, it has always been the media. And the reason is they're kids. They're kids. They're know nothing, do nothing, never did anything kids who sit in college and are told what to think. And when they get out, they can't wait to lick their little pencil and write down whatever some moron liar tells them. So whether it's deceit of just not doing your job in this case, or it's collusion of fraud in Obama's
Yeah, thanks for
And I wouldn't call Brett Baer a kid. I mean, there is adults in that room.
Well, of course, but I know what Sean's saying. Thanks for the call, Sean. And what he's also talking about is laziness, but it's laziness in one direction. It's laziness for the benefit of the left, generally speaking, because generally speaking, members of the press corps are left. We know this. Not everybody.
Right, but
That's
most of them.
Generally speaking. And so it's always easy to just be fed what you want to, the story you want to tell from the perspective you want to tell it. So, of course, they just turn around and don't verify and just cut and paste what they're given, what many do this, what they're given from people they agree with ideologically. I mean, that's what Glenn Thrush admitted he was doing during the when he was at Politico during the campaign. Now he got upgraded to the New York Times.
But in this case, people's lives are involved in this. And
people's lives are always involved.
Game.
People's lives are always
but
involved.
You have millions of people. I mean, you have kids calling in sick every day to CPS because they're worried their mom and dad are going to be deported. You have people now. The latest headline this morning: sales are down for shopping in Little Village and in Pilsen neighborhood because people aren't going out of the house because they're scared they're going to be grabbed and sent back to wherever country they're from.
Right, because they're being demagogued by fearmongers on the left who don't distinguish between people that are productive and here peacefully and people that are predators and that are the priority for deportation. So blame the mouthpieces of the left and the mouthpieces of the left that are in the press corps for feeding the false fear and failing to distinguish between people who are here doing very, very different things. That's the left. That's on them. David in Forest Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Amy. You know, I'm just, when you show up to a gunfight, you never show up with a knife. The media lies about everything. They distort stories into their favor. What's wrong with Trump taking advantage of them just one time?
Because it's so obvious that he's taking advantage of them, that he's lying about it. I mean, everybody was celebrating this new side of Donald Trump on Tuesday prior to the speech, and it was all a lie. But they're not even denying that it wasn't a lie. This is a cat and mouse game that's got to stop. Somebody's got to be held accountable, and somebody's got to grow up. Let's stop playing each other.
Thanks for the call, David. I mean, it's one thing to say, look, to apply a standard equally. So I understand that. Just because somebody does one thing doesn't make it okay for you to do that thing if it's an immoral, unethical thing. I understand that argument. But you have to make it consistently. And it seems to me those that want to make it about this manipulation of the media in advance of his address to Congress don't make it when Ben Rhodes tells you just how he treats the stooges in the media that are there at his beck and call and the think tankers. And when Susan Rice trots out and the administration lies and lies and lies about what happened in Benghazi for months on end, doesn't seem to me that standard is applied by those same people. Pete on 88, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Pete.
Hey there. Hey, Amy. The main difference here that needs to be brought in position, people died in Benghazi, and the Trump administration came clean afterwards. They didn't perpetuate their lies.
Thanks for the call, Pete. Thanks for the call, Pete. Right. I mean, people's lives were involved in Benghazi, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. The central issue isn't, I don't think, whether or not people are weak or wanting to be pleasing or please others. I think the central thing is, do you have a worldview that values truth, right? If you do, you won't be manipulated and you won't manipulate. Unfortunately, politics isn't always operating in the worldview of truth-seeking. They're agenda-forwarding. They do things that are in their self-interest and perhaps maybe on occasion even their constituents. But if you're in the business of reporting the truth and seeking the truth, then the media shouldn't have the role of spin doctoring, period, full stop.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ralph. I mean, here's the other thing. The media should be skeptical of everybody. That's their job, right?
Okay, yeah, you should always question authority.
Right.
So question Donald Trump and his advisors.
I'm happy to have them question. It's the selective scrutiny. It's the selective skepticism that undermines the media. And look, they're members of the media, like all the people that I know. They're members of the media that I have a trust relationship with because they've treated me fairly, and I'm been honest with them, and I'm always honest with the media. But there are many who have not returned the favor. And so there
are many that are looking to make a headline, and they don't care who they trample in the process to get what they want.
And so they go into a different bucket.
Right.
Kurt in Park Ridge.
You know, the difference here is the media got played, and they like to be on the inside. They were on the inside of Benghazi. They were a part of the manipulation, and they were manipulating the people. So they got played this time, and they don't like it. And that's the bottom line. They want to be on the inside, not the outside.
Well, I don't like it not just as a journalist, but as an American citizen. I don't like this kind of games. And they couldn't ask questions, Dan, because they're chowing down on a rubber chicken lunch at the time. They had this announcement while they were eating.
Well, sure. I mean,
I can't wait to see what they dined on.
Yeah.
Brett Baer will be here tomorrow at 7:07 a.m.
I mean, you're just chomping at the bit for Brett Baer.
I am.
Ed and LaGrange.
Can't promote it enough.
Yeah, I think great show so far, you guys. I don't think it was right when Obama did it regarding Benghazi, and it's not right when Trump did it most recently. I don't think you can defend Trump by saying Obama did it. I think government officials have a responsibility to tell the truth. It's different. Media does not necessarily have that. You've got media outlets that are conservative and liberal, and they're going to give you their slant
Well, that doesn't mean it's not the truth. It's an honest perspective, right? You liberal or conservative, fine. Be honest about your slant. If you're Carol Maureen writing the Sun-Times, dispense with this silliness that you're some objective Scrivener. You're a hard leftist. Okay, fine. So now I factor that into your coverage or the stories you write. It's the pantomime the media plays where they pretend objectivity that they don't possess. That's the problem. That's what undermines it.
I understand it. I'm no fan of Carol Maureen at all. And I know she's
using his example. Yeah.
I take everything she says, understanding that.
Yeah.
And I understand your position, too, so I take it from that. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I go by it. So, thank you. Good show.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this product works. I even recommended it to my mother, and she's been taking it, and she's 89 years old.
Makes me feel good. It really does. I could feel a change in my well-being, let's put it that way.
So far, it has helped my irritable bowel. So I'm just praying that it just keeps going, because you don't know. This was a dreadful thing. Dreadful.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Balance of Nature, you guys are awesome. God bless you.
Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing mortgage, then you should call David Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. Today, meet John, who was trapped in financial quicksand when he called David. John desperately needed to refinance to pay off debt, but couldn't because his severely credit challenged. John dialed David's number into his phone numerous times, but was too embarrassed to talk to him about his financial challenges. Well, John finally contacted David and allowed him to run his credit, develop a plan to enhance his credit profile, which helped John increase his credit scores over 80 points. Wow. Now, this enabled David to refinance John's mortgage, pay off debt, and lower his monthly payments over $3,000 a month. Well, that sounds like a miracle. So don't be embarrassed if you want help and you want to enhance your credit. Just call David now, 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, NMLS 19186. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Would the world be a better place without people with Down syndrome? At 8:38.
And later, how one woman lost 200 pounds in just one day. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
30 degrees with some sun, mostly cloudy throughout this day. And we've had most of the snow showers end for the time being, but there's a chance of flurries throughout the day. Attorney General Jeff Sessions trying to clarify his meetings with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. before the presidential election last year.
I have not met with any Russians at any time to discuss any political campaign, and those remarks are unbelievable to me and are false, and I don't have anything else to say about that.
Sessions was asked about possible contact between members of the Trump campaign and Russian officials during his confirmation hearings to become Attorney General. The president, Donald Trump, plans to meet with sailors and shipbuilders on board a huge new aircraft carrier in Virginia today, promoting his plans for a major buildup of the nation's military. He'll be on board the USS Gerald R. Ford. Few are asking for unemployment help. The Labor Department saying weekly jobless claims fell by 19,000 last week to 223,000. White Sox first baseman Jose Abreu returns to the witness stand today in the Miami trial of a Florida sports agent and baseball trainer accused of illegally smuggling Cuban ball players to the U.S. Yesterday, Abreu testified he ate a chunk of a fake passport while flying to the U.S. to cover up his illegal travel. says he was worried about losing his $68 million contract with the White Sox. A Lake County Health Department official recently confirmed one case of a Barrington High School student contracting mumps. In an email delivered Tuesday, Barrington District school members confirmed that case and say several additional cases are now suspected, but have not yet been confirmed. And top Senate Republicans say they can't support a proposed budget compromise because it's still not ready. Democratic Senate President John Cullerton canceled action on the plan Wednesday, blaming Republican Governor Bruce Rauner. Deputy Republican leader Bill Brady of Bloomington says he sees progress, but not before a property tax freeze goes from temporary to permanent. Patrick Kane a hat trick in the Blackhawks win over the Penguins 4-1. Big Ten hoops, Northwestern, a buzzer-beating win over Michigan 67-65. In the Fighting Illini, fighting for an NCAA tournament bid, getting a win over Michigan State 73-70. The news service of the Foundation for a Better Life. She didn't just visit the sick and poor. She moved in because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but gave her all. Compassion. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks some tough news to protesters.
Okay, good. Go march around. Carry a sandwich board and yell that he's not my president. The ultimate truth is he is. You want to stand around and think you're going to make a difference? Go ahead. I believe with all of my heart, you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to move the needle 1 inch.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Your business requires protection. Break-ins, vandalism, and fires happen, so it's important to prevent losses. That's why for over half a century, Chicagoland companies have trusted Active Alarm Company. From planning and installation to maintenance and monitoring, Active Alarm are the protection pros. Active Alarm Company is a UL-listed alarm service company and a platinum-level Honeywell-authorized security dealer, one of 22 nationally and only 2 in Illinois. And you'll always speak live with a team member. Active Alarm offers the newest equipment, including security, fire, access control, video systems, and the most responsive technical support. So if you need your first alarm system, an updated system, or monitoring, call Active Alarm Company for your free security analysis and quote at 847-438-2600 or visit ActiveAlarm.com. The protection pros at Active Alarm Company are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Honeywell authorized security dealer. That's 847-438-2600 or online at ActiveAlarm.com. License number 127000541.
Are you facing foreclosure, been foreclosed upon, in a bad modification, or just stuck in a bad mortgage? Well, we may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. We defend foreclosure actions. We bring claims against the banks and the servicers for wrongful foreclosure and other violations of mortgage servicing regulations. And we help people negotiate modifications of their existing mortgages, often including principal reductions. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, and advice regarding your options.
Hi, this is Rayanne from Lou Bridges & Associates. I am one of the loan modification processors here, and if you are in need of any additional information in regard to a loan modification, please contact the office.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
The new Trump administration could cause explosive moves in the financial markets, and savvy market speculators are rethinking their investment strategy. Are you ready to do the same? At Online Trading Academy, we believe that reaching your financial goals has little to do with who runs the White House and everything to do with who runs your house. That's why it's the best time to learn how to capitalize on opportunities in the financial markets by attending a free half-day class. Call 888-984-8723. That's 888-984-TRADE or visit tradingacademy.com to reserve your seat. You'll discover professional-grade strategies that can help you generate income, grow wealth, and ultimately achieve your why, the things you want most in life. When you register, you'll get the Wall Street Insiders Kit. Valuable investing insights, strategies, and videos absolutely free. Seats are limited, so don't delay. Call 888-984-8723. That's 888-984-TRADE to reserve your seat. That's 888-984-8723. 888-984-TRADE or visit tradingacademy.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
8:37, and a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Like the eastbound Adams Tollway is jammed. 59 to Barrington Road, where a crash just cleared. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, really heavy from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, to the Army Trail Toll to 290. Edens is 20 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. Kennedy, 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, heavier in the express lanes, outbound 32 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 38 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 11 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, fine outbound now. Ryan, 33 minutes. 95 to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cold today, a bit of snow at times, a coating to an inch throughout the day. High 37. Currently 31. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Maybe an uncomfortable topic for some, not for me. It's too important. Question: would the world be a better place without people with Down syndrome? Tough question. Well, it's happening. So that's why we're going to talk about it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Iceland. In the last 9 years, since 2008, according to an advocacy group, Down Pride's appeal to the United Nations, every Icelandic onboard child prenatally diagnosed with Down syndrome has been aborted. 100% of pregnant women in Iceland abort their babies who've been prenatally diagnosed with Down syndrome. Great Britain, 90%. Denmark, 98%. As the author of this piece, Jenny Rapson, in ForEveryMom.com, points out properly, those countries have national health care systems, meaning government. So basically, these governments have decided that children with Down syndrome cost too much, haven't they? And I asked this in this context. Had you know those volunteers that pass Planned Parenthood's propaganda on the streets of Chicago?
Yeah.
So I went up to one the other day, and I asked some questions. So I said, so you think that it's a woman's body and it's her choice, right? And so that's why you're pro-choice.
Right. And since you don't have a vajayjay or a family, you can't have your own opinion.
Oh, I didn't even get to that.
That's what they always say.
Oh, no, I know, but I didn't even get to that part. So I just asked, with the advances in science, they'll probably soon be able to, from a DNA sample, from a fetus, determine whether or not the child will, for instance, have an inclination towards homosexuality. So would you support a woman aborting a child because that child had an inclination towards homosexuality? Silence. I had a feeling that the individual I was speaking with was gay.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, I've never had anyone ask me that question. And I said, okay, well, I'm asking you now. And he so I restated the question. He said, I'm gay, so of course not. Oh, of course not. Well, then why would abortions for other characteristics be okay in your mind? And at that point, one of his colleagues saw me talking to him, and she intervened, and I restated the question and the conversation we were having, and she put the gag order on him, and the conversation was cut off. But what about that? If it's okay to do so for gender selection because somebody is going to have a disability, then what about for sexual orientation if we get to that point? And even if we don't, even if you might suspect, what would they say about that? What would Dan Savage, Dan Savage, the great gay rights activist who said there should be more abortions in this world because we have too many damn people. That's the Dan Savage position. What would you say if it was aborting children because they had an inclination towards homosexuality? Same position? Love to put that question to Cecile the Lion Richards, the head of Planned Parenthood. Maybe I could put that question to Barbara Bush the Younger, one of George W. Bush's daughter, who's headlining a Planned Parenthood fundraising luncheon in Fort Worth. Franklin Graham, of course, the evangelical leader, the son of Billy Graham, raising money. He described Barbara Bush headlining this fundraiser, Barbara Bush the Younger, child of W. Raising money for Planned Parenthood is similar to raising money to fund a Nazi death camp like Auschwitz. Strong.
Well, I mean, every time we're pregnant, I mean, we have a choice. You get it's called a CVS or amniocentesis.
Yeah.
Where you can tell whether your kid has Down syndrome, whether or not they have spina bifida. I mean, the list of chromosomal abnormalities go on and on and on. And you just sit there and the test is risky, but a lot of people who are 35 and older are encouraged by their gynecologist to take the test.
Okay.
To see, and Sarah Palin is one of the people who took that test. And because when you're a certain age, you have to take the test. And she knew that her youngest son was going to have Down syndrome, and she decided to keep her baby, obviously.
I have a friend in Chicago. Same thing happened, and difficult decision because family members were telling him to, and him and his wife to abort, and he wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't do it, and that was the decision they made. So, what's the decision? Is this isn't this of a mind that people are going to present challenges? Then it would be better for us because the people that are here, all that matters is us and our existence. So if if somebody's going to be inconvenient, well then just get rid of them. You think that's a slippery slope at all? If you don't, I don't think you're getting where I'm going. I don't think you're picking up what I'm putting down if you don't think that's a slippery slope.
And I know women who have lost their children because they've taken these CVS tests. I mean, there's a risk associated with it too. You should see the needle they stick in your belly, Dan. It's about this long.
Yeah, but
why do you want it this way? I know, but the fact that they have the test and that.
What about the decision after the test?
The decision to make the test.
The decision after the test.
Well, you could lose the baby taking the test. That's a great risk too. Well, that's what you have to decide. That's why a lot of people don't even bother taking it because they don't want to know. They just want to have what God gave them.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if people think that maybe persons with disabilities are reflections on our humanity and how we treat those individuals from the womb to the tomb. It says something about us, about how civilized we are, uncivilized. Somebody can present challenges or have challenges in their life and present challenges, for caregivers, for family and community around them. But they can also add tremendous value on the other side, too, can't they?
I mean, my sisters are both special ed teachers. Kira Bro, Down syndrome. She was one of my oldest sister's students. Fell in love with her, was part of the family. I mean, there's kids that have Down syndrome that are the most wonderful people in the world.
So what? And also, I mean, the joy that I see from people that work at this nonprofit called Envision Chicago. It serves developmentally and intellectually disabled. Mm-hmm. The people that work with these individuals, they're happier than I'll ever be. The joy they get from working with individuals that need some help, rather than being in politics like me. So what about the satisfaction that people get from helping other people? I mean, is that factored in, or do we just look at this one-dimensionally, and that's how we should look at life, and that's the culture we want to promote? If it's going to present a challenge for me, then I just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Disposable society, starting with life, have larger cultural implications. Jennifer in Batavia, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to call. I'm so intrigued by this topic. My husband's uncle had Down syndrome, and my husband's grandmother founded Opportunity House out in DeKalb for that very reason, to find a place for people to be contributing members of society. And his name was Uncle Pete. He lived to the age of 69. He was the life of every family gathering. Beautiful, just a beautiful person. And I think this topic is just really important. I think the other thing is that, I don't know the studies and the results, but I think those tests that you guys were talking about are often they're not accurate.
That's true, too. There are some that are inaccurate. So these couple think they're having a baby with Down syndrome, and then the child is born and there's no Down syndrome.
Right. Yeah, I've heard of that happening many times.
Thanks for the call, Jennifer.
You're
Appreciate that for sharing your story. And Ruth in Rogers Park.
Hi. I mean, I'm a special ed teacher. I work with kids with Down syndrome. I'm just appalled because whoever came out with this information clearly has never met a person with Down syndrome and seen what an amazing impact on society they can have. First of all, like you said, they bring so much pleasure. Like, my student is my wife. I love her so much. And not just that, but they can be such productive members of society. Even if they're just doing something like bagging their groceries
Absolutely.
at school. They do it with such a smile. And there are people with Down syndrome who have made such tremendous, there's one who's producing, small movies. There's a show, I don't remember what it's called, but it's all about people with Down syndrome and what amazing things they can do. So, I don't know, whoever is coming out with this idea or whatever clearly has never met someone with Down syndrome.
Thanks for the call, Ruth. Appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes I think we forget, or certain of us do. There's more than one way to contribute to society, to live a life well lived, to add value to the lives of others. It's not just economic. We spend so much time obsessing about it. Turns out to be kind of a secondary issue, really. By the way, to Ruth's point, in response to what's happening in Iceland, an Icelandic photographer named Sigga Ella put together a series of 21 portraits of people with Down syndrome called First and Foremost I Am, which highlights the beauty of each one of these individuals. So there's a response to what's happening in Iceland, too. There's not unanimity of opinion, and I wanted to make that point. Glenn in Glen Ellen, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I have two sons that are 17 and 12, and they help out 1 to 2 nights a week at their church with autistic kids. And I mean, these kids. I mean, this is not a Terry Schiavo controversy. I mean, these are kids that have personalities. They're alive. They smile like crazy when they see my sons come in because they're friends. They look forward to it. And whether or not a productive member of society is not really the question. My youngest son in particular, I mean, I think it's his God-given gift to spend his career or his adulthood in this helping these kind of people out, and it's just a reflection of our society here in America, what we decided to do with it.
It really is. Thanks for the call, Glenn, and sharing that what your kids do. It's a mirror test. That's what that's I believe 100%. It is absolutely a mirror test how we treat people that have challenges. Harry and Wilmette, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, I was just going to observe the slippery slope thing. One of the more common reasons for abortions in the world is female gender. Many countries will be on ultrasounds done for this purpose, and you can read stories about gender imbalances in mainland China, for example.
Sure, sure, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, thanks for the call, Harry. That's absolutely one-child policy there. That's why it was interesting. Michelle Malkin writes about this. Planned Parenthood's pinup girls, Emma Stone and Dakota Johnson, at the Oscar ceremony. They had
their Planned Parenthood pins.
They sure did. And response to this, and the Gates Foundation that's put $100 million into family planning in Africa, which means abortion, because Planned Parenthood is a partner in that family planning, and their business is abortion. Interesting Michelle Malkin piece, Lesson for Planned Parenthood's Pinup Girls, where she spoke with a health professional, an African-born biomedical scientist named, oh boy, I hope I get Obianuju Ekacha.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
You know what? Better you than me pronouncing
I think
that,
I'm in the
'cause-
ballpark. That may not be quite right, but I think I'm. Miss Ekacha wrote to Malkin saying, the Africans are grateful for the Mexico policy, meaning Trump's reinstatement of the so-called Mexico City policy, barring taxpayer-funded of international NGOs that perform and promote abortions. She said that what the Gates Foundation and these other ghouls do is cultural imperialism. There's no support for abortion. Pew Research Center on Global Attitudes about Abortion found that the majority of the citizens of Kenya, Ghana, Uganda, and Nigeria believe the practice of abortion is morally unacceptable. But yet you have the white man. You want to talk about the white man in this context coming over the top to say no, abort your kids. Bill and Melinda Gates, all the Hollywood celebrities. This is the cool thing to do. It's the cool thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Don't burden yourself. All of the arguments. You really want to be reflecting on your life and having stood on that side of the line on these issues? Do you really want to? Think about it.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Sunshine right now, so that's nice.